Welcome back, everybody. It is that time again where we gather around the sheep squatch and tell spooky stories. Everybody, tap the screen, send some hearts, interact with the live. Let's get it out there so that people see it. More hearts means more people, means more ghost stories. Everybody, send some hearts. Hello, Juanito. And I see Harry. Hey, Harry. How is everybody tonight? How you guys doing? Let's see. There's some settings I need to tweak. Oh, I'll do it later. So, good. How about you? I'm okay. I'm hanging in there. I was up a little bit too late last night doing the stream, so tonight we're cutting it off at 2. It has to end at 2 or else I'm not going to make it. Doing good. Yeah, I don't know what invite. Oh, it's probably the notification. Like if you turn on post notifications, you get notified when I go live. Maybe that's what it was. Let's see. Guest box is open for anybody who has a spooky story. We do all sorts of spooky stories here. It doesn't even have to be paranormal. It can just be weird in general, but generally speaking, we do paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, glitch in the matrix stories. Hello, Mio. You saw Tinkerbell Boogie Woogie. That's kind of weird. Definitely not paranormal. But yeah, whatever. All right, guys, guest box is open if anybody wants to hop in. Thank you, Ron T. I appreciate that. I feel like TikTok has been very slow this week, so I don't know. Last night's stream was pretty good. If you guys were here, we had a lot of good stories. Lots of good spooky stuff going on. What was our best story from last night? I can't remember. Had some really good ones. You have many stories? Oh, interesting. If you want to share any of those stories, feel free to click on the little pink and blue person that should be somewhere along the bottom of the screen. Ooh, Bigfoot. Yeah, Bigfoot does that from time to time. Bigfoot, TikTok showing you things you've already seen and liked. I hate when that happens. Sometimes it shows me the same video over and over. It's weird. Sleep with a ghost app on? I don't believe in ghost apps. I don't think they work. I think they're a gimmick. You probably hear my bird screaming in the background. Lodge Tales, yeah. Lodge Tales always has some wild stories to tell us about. I know, Holly. As usual, right? As usual. um, Ever come to Danville? No, I do not come to Danville. I don't know if I've ever been to Danville, actually. Maybe once or twice a really long time ago. Alright, guys, tap the screen, send some hearts. More hearts means more people, means more ghost stories. Hopefully, this will pick up tonight. I don't know. I think everybody has flew the coop. Everybody's took off because it's springtime and everybody's out doing fun stuff instead of TikToking at night. Been pretty slow. But last night's show was really good. We had quite a few people, pretty much back to back. So hopefully it works out tonight as well. Oh, thank you for the roses. I appreciate that. I need like little AI catchphrases to say because I like when other people do that. I think it's funny and cute. I think about that sometimes. Like, what can I say when I don't know when that happens? I have no idea. Something that nobody else has said before. Springtime. Well, Harry, you're way up north though. It's springtime every place else except way up north. Guest box is open. If anybody has a spooky story you want to come up and share it, feel free. Harry, you want to come up and tell some of your spooky stories? Yeah, that is true. I don't know. The weather's been pretty nice though. No, don't be nervous. The only thing is TikTok requires you to have at least 200 followers to go live. So you looks like you might be a little bit short, and you also have to be at least 18 years old. So those are the only requirements. Yeah, Harry, hop on up here and we'll shoot the shit about the paranormal a little bit. It's looking like it might be a slow night, at least in the beginning. Make sure my volume's turned up so that I can hear you. Yeah, but if anybody wants to come up, definitely don't feel shy or anything. I always get nervous before I go live, but it goes away, and all of a sudden it goes away. Uh oh, Harry's not connect. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I thought it wasn't going to connect there for a second.
Yeah, it showed I hit it because I didn't think I hit it the first time, and somebody else's picture popped up. I must have like a invite to a. I don't know.
Almost 70 degrees the last couple of days. Yeah, I know. And that's the crazy thing is like all of a sudden it just turned off really cold and terrible for like one day, and maybe tomorrow I think it's supposed to be a little warmer. So,
It's
do you
supposed
say
to be
you're still
19
getting?
here tonight.
Oh, wow. 19 degrees. I don't know how you stand it, Harry. I couldn't handle that.
Fire. Have a fire
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. Um, 82 in Florida. Yeah, but it's Florida, so it's like, I'll take the snow. That's the only circumstance. I used to live in Florida, so yeah, I'll take the snow any day.
Y'all
We
talking
got
about
a
the warm
couple
temperatures? Just send them up this way.
yeah, yeah, send them upwards. All right, let's see. We got a couple of people. We're gonna see what they've got for us. See if they got some spooky stories. Hello and welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah, you got a spooky story?
I do have a couple of stories. Well, I guess two stories. They're a little short and they're not mine, but they are people very close to me. And I'm a person who I've, I've always lingered in between. I, I'm an agnostic theist. I believe, but I'm very skeptical. And when I had these people tell me these things, it kind of sent me through the floor. It was both my grandmothers on either side, and they're very religious for different reasons. One is Catholic, and the other is very Baptist, and and have anything to do with the supernatural. And when I heard
Uh,
this,
Hang real quick before you get started with your story. You've got a lot of background noise. Is there
oh
any way you can?
yeah, I'm sorry. I thought I was standing at the. I guess my mic was better than I thought it was. I'll turn this off. I apologize.
That's fine.
I thought I was far enough away. Anyway, is there anything? Is there anything else? Can you hear anything?
Yeah, no, that's I can hear you good now.
Okay, no, that was the television. I apologize. Anyway, um, so the first one is a little shorter, and this one also was corroborated by the rest of my mother's family, and and my mother's family and my dad's family couldn't have been more different. They were upstate Catholics. My dad's family was Appalachian Baptists, and she talked about how their house had a ghost that would walk back and forth up the hallway. She said, I never saw it, but you could hear it. And she said, but apparently your Aunt Lisa saw it. And I asked her about it, and she said, yes. She said, I actually saw it at the foot of my bed. And I was just like, wow. And this was something that she was very no nonsense. She never talked about anything like that. And but this other one was the one that really, like, when I heard this story, and this story may not mean anything to anybody else, but here, this is the one that I spent with most of my life, or the grandmother. I apologize. And very salt of the earth, and if anybody here is southern, especially in the Appalachian Mountains, um, there's old stories about stuff like this. But she talked about my aunt, and she said that when she was young, she was covered in warts. And she said they took her to the doctor, and they couldn't do anything. Nothing worked. And they said that she took her to, or they all went one day to the flea market. Or no, I apologize. They took her. This is where the stories diverge, and I think there's a reason for that. Um, but she said they took her to a man in a part of town, and this man did something. She said with a bit of corn, said some words, threw it over, and apparently next day all the warts were gone. And I said, do what now? And she looked over at my grandfather, and she said, wasn't that right? And he was just like, yeah. And these are not the type of people to ever talk about anything like that. And so and this was not too long after my grandmother passed, I actually went to uh, my aunt and asked her this. And I actually have a video, because I wanted a video of her asking her this. And she prefaces, because very religious, and I knew it was going to be hard getting her. And I think she was suspicious of me asking her this. I think she thought I wanted like a magic tutorial, or I think she thought I was always the black sheep of the family, and I think she thought I wanted something out of this, because this is where the story kind of diverged. And she kept prefacing it. She's like, no, I don't believe in all this. I don't truck with witchcraft and anything. She kept saying that. She's like, but it did happen. And she started out by saying, she's like, now we tried all the old mountain tales. She said we hid, string behind rock and, everything. She said, nothing worked, whatever. And then she said that they went to a flea market. She didn't say that I was taken to a man, but that he looked at her arm, and he was just like, and he was like, okay, well, just come back and see me. I think she said next week. And she said, well, next day I was on the school bus, and she said I was putting on lip gloss, and she said I had a wart. She said, I think she said near her lip. She said I couldn't feel it; it was gone. Then I looked, and I'm pretty sure she said she had like 75 warts, and they were all gone. And she said, and again at the end of it, she said, I don't believe in all that stuff. She's like, but it did happen. And there are like, and I've heard these kinds of stories and these are of old stories of people who can remove warts. And I guess now they call them, I don't think they used to call them this, but in modern terms that they're called granny witches. But I was just floored because this is not something that my family would ever talk about. And so like that's the only reason why I gave this any kind of, because my aunt literally wanted to like do some kind of, she put up a flyer in her window to try to protest a show, I think on NBC, because it misrepresented God. She hated Harry Potter. So when I say she was against anything magic, supernatural, so these were very, very go to church, you know, work 6 days a week, go to church the rest. These are not the type of people to talk about stuff like that. They never did anything to do with the supernatural. So when I heard about that, and then to have it, yeah, that I don't know if anybody else in here has heard any kind of stories about that, but
Yeah,
apparently,
that's actually pretty common in the Appalachian Mountains. And you're talking about
right.
granny witches. It's very common.
Okay, well, I didn't know if you were
Yeah.
around this. Okay,
Hmm.
yeah, okay. Well, I didn't know if you were around the Appalachian Mountains, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually from Eastern Kentucky, so I'm from the woods of the Appalachian Mountains.
Then you're okay.
So
I'm in Southwest Virginia, so you're very, very close to me. Okay, yeah, no, yeah. Excuse me. So no, we're definitely in the same neck of the woods. Um, but yeah, but to have that admitted to me, so I was so that's the only reason why I kind of like I was like, okay, something. I don't know what happened, but something happened, and but have you? I mean, so, and I'm just curious for yourself. Have you ever encountered anything close to that in this part of the area,
um if you're asking if I've ever seen any like magic
or
work,
heard about it, or
the
like,
the answer to that would probably be no. I do love like witchcraft and the occult stuff like that. And growing up in Appalachian Kentucky, it's very steeped in the sympathetic magic culture, and people don't even know it. I'm actually making a video on that this coming week, but I do know lots of old women, and I grew up around lots of old women who kind of had that persona, like the granny witch persona, and people who made like homemade remedies and tinctures and things like that. And so, I've seen it, but have I ever seen magic work? Unfortunately, no. I wish I had. But yeah, it's definitely a thing in Eastern Kentucky and the rest of Appalachia. It's very common.
see, I've not seen it, and like I mean, I've always heard, and what's funny is like there's always I've grew up not common, but haints and boogers and things
Mhm.
like that. But it's funny because I remember asking my um, psychology professor about it, which I mean, we took a course on cultural diversity, and one of the things that we had to do was representations of the culture of Appalachia. And I remember asking her, I was like, if they did things like this, back then, because this area was so cut off um, geographically, from medicine and everything. So people like, had to be, um, I forget, midwives or, dowsing rods, whatever. And she said, "Oh yeah, no, it's great when people need them, but as soon as cattle dies or crops die, who do you think they're going to come out with, with the pitchforks and the knives? And I was like,
Yep.
okay, nope, that makes all the sense. That makes all the sense. But yeah, but
Yeah, that's
anyway,
pretty much what my content is about here on TikTok. If you go watch some of my videos, I talk primarily about Appalachian stuff like that, folklore and um, witchcraft and those types of things. And I actually just recently did a video on the superstition about the seventh child of a seventh child, which is another kind of Appalachian witchy type thing. So you should definitely check that out.
no, I definitely will. I've been very interested to, because it might be more open over in that side. Over in this side, it seems to be more. I feel like and I want to be kind when I say this. Um, unless it's just the people that I've been speaking to, I feel like the religious aspect has definitely dampened that. The the
Yeah.
it is extremely religious here, and therefore it is not that type of belief is not welcomed here, and so it's very. I've only had it was my physical. I had an injury and physical. What's the word I'm looking for here? When you have to go to someone after you've been injured, your physical. It's on the tip of my tongue. Why am I?
Like a physical therapist?
There it is. A physical therapist. I apologize. I don't know. But the only time, like he said that his mother apparently uh, had removed war, and he said that he said she would never show me. He said I always wanted to know how she did it, but she would never show me, and never. And I was, it was just. But that's the only. Other than that, I've never heard anything. I don't know. And maybe it's just different in this part, but anyway. So, yeah, no, I will definitely check out your videos because I'm definitely interested.
Awesome. Yeah, and if you want, hang around and listen to some stories. We usually have some pretty cool stuff like that on here, during the stream. So hopefully you'll stick around with us. And thank you for coming up and sharing your story.
No, thank you so much.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Harry, are you familiar with like old Appalachian magic type stuff? You know anything about that?
I've I've heard of some of the stuff, like he was saying with the divining rods and stuff like that, but not a whole lot of it. I've heard about it, but like you, I've never experienced anything. I mean,
Hmm.
we've used divining rods ourselves. We use it to find a well and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah, we always
uh,
called them water witch. You just get a water
yeah,
witch, and it'll
hmm,
it'll pull you right to some water.
yep, it works too.
Yeah, it definitely does. Let's see. I think we got. Oh yeah, we got a couple more people actually. Let's get this one up here. Sea hags in the comments. Hello, welcome. Hello,
Mute himself.
hello.
Hello. Sorry, I don't know why my green screen turned on. How's your night going so far?
Good. How about you?
So far, so good. Just decided to come up here and share a couple stories with y'all, as
Okay.
well as anybody else who wants to listen. So, of course, you can see from my name, I do urban exploring, so I do a little bit of ghost hunting in abandoned places. So, this takes place at a place in what is called the Rockville Sanitarium, which is in Indiana. I will tell you right now, it's probably the most haunted place in Indiana, or at least that I've been to personally, and I'm going to tell you why. So, the first time I ever went there, I took my EMF meter, and before we even got in the door, this thing was spiking all the way to red. There's no electricity, no nothing at all around or anything like that. We're out in BFE. Quite literally, BFE. You can look up and see the stars clear as day. And then I've seen two of my friends get attacked by an unseen force. There was one time that I was there. I either saw, I'm just going to use little names, either a rake or a something that rhymes with Schwindigo. When we were getting back in the car, whatever it was, it ran on all fours. It was all white. The front legs were longer than its back legs. And I've never seen anything like that. I grew up close to the woods. So, of course, I've seen raccoons, I've seen deer, I've seen coyotes. That was none of this. It scared the fuck out of me. There was one time I was also there. My buddy was recording. You can actually find this recording on my page, where my EMF meter was going off like crazy. And then he's like, hey, I just caught something on video. So I stopped what I was doing and watched the video. And when I laugh, you hear what sounds like a female just say, hey. And nobody said hey. Nobody. So it freaked me the fuck out, but we kept on going.
Yeah. Yep, that will happen. I've been a ghost hunter for many years, and yeah, it's definitely freaky.
Honestly, the craziest thing that I've experienced, though, is I was at an abandoned mental asylum. And the first time I went in, so this little backstory, this place is 3 stories tall. And we go up to the second floor. We come upon an Ouija board. I don't fuck with the Ouija boards. I'm good. My friend had my EMF meter, was playing around with it, see if it would spike. Nothing. So I turn around and I see a figure about 7 feet tall, all black, dark from one side of the building to the other. And when my friend turns around, we both heard this blood-curdling scream come out from a woman. And there was nobody else there but us. There's too much shit on the ground that we would know that if it was somebody else in there just playing jokes on us or something like that.
Very cool. Well, we appreciate you coming up and sharing your story with us.
No problem.
All right, have a good night.
Thank you, and y'all do the same.
Thanks.
No problem.
I know about the disembodied voices. I told you that one. I've had my
Oh,
name
yeah.
whispered in my ear. I mean, I still get goosebumps when I talk about that one. And that's,
I know.
Somebody say, like a whisper say my name last night.
Yeah, that's something
Because-
you don't ever forget is when you experience a disembodied voice like that. It's the creepiest thing ever.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like it was right there. I could almost feel the coldness on my neck, you know. It was right in my ear. Somebody said my name, and I got all the hair stood up on the back of my neck. You know, it was one of those things. It just.
Yeah. Chris, you are not connecting. Request again. Chris finally made it, guys. He's finally here. Yeah, I was doing an investigation in Western Kentucky. First time I ever heard a disembodied voice, like in real time. And I was sitting on the stairs, on the top of the stairs by myself in what the homeowner considered to be like the most haunted spot in the house. And because like on ghost hunts, I like to go ham. So I always go to the spookiest place of, the location. Mm-hmm. And so I was sitting there and I had my headphones on, running through the EVP recorder. And all of a sudden I hear this woman's voice whisper, move. in my ear, and I was like, holy shit, I really just heard that. Like, it really just happened. Like, I actually heard an EVP in real time. It was the craziest thing ever. That was the first time I ever
Yeah.
experienced that. Hey, Chris.
Hi. I was here earlier. I just was letting Harry finish saying what he was saying.
Yeah, Harry's just hanging out. We're just talking about some wild paranormal stuff, and we got a couple people waiting, so I guess we get the next guest up, and you guys feel free to jump in and, ask questions, whatever. Um, we'll get AA Ron up here. I've seen that skit, by the way. AA Ron. It's pretty funny. I don't know if you guys ever seen that before, but
Hey guys, what's up?
hey.
What's up?
You guys hear me okay? Just want to make sure my mic's working.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sweet. So I got a couple of stories to share with you if you have the time. The first time I ever saw anything paranormal, I was about 5 years old, and my grandparents raised me, and so I was at my grandparents' house. My grandfather had model trains in his basement, and uh, my uncle was about 5 years older than me, and him and my grandfather were downstairs in the basement doing something with the model trains, and I wanted to go down there and see what they were doing. So when you went down into my grandparents' basement, the stairs led down into a big room, and there was a door that led to a hallway that went back to where the model trains were. And so I walked down the stairs, and I was headed to that door that led to the hallway back to the model trains. And for some reason, something made me stop. I stopped dead in my tracks. And I looked over to my right to the wall, and there was this black shape on the wall. And oh man, it gives me goosebumps every time I talk about this. At first, I thought that it was a shadow because my grandmother would hang up clothes down there to dry sometimes, and I thought it was just a trick of the light playing on the wall because it looked like a face. And so I just sat there kind of looking at it for a minute, and then it smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It was like an evil grin. And of course, me being 5 years old, I immediately started freaking out, crying, screaming, and my grandpa and my uncle ran over to see what was going on, and by the time they got there, it had vanished. So that was the first time I'd ever seen anything, and I can still remember it to this day. Even being 5 years old, I can remember exactly what it looked like. And at the time, my great grandmother and my grandma and grandpa lived right next door to each other, and my uncle and I would ride the bus home together, and I was supposed to stay with my uncle until my great grandma got home from work. Well, he was watching MTV, and I wanted to watch cartoons, so I snuck out of the house and went over to my great grandmother's house and was watching cartoons. And so I'm sitting there watching cartoons, and the television was like placed on a wall that when you sat in front of the TV, you would be facing kind of the door was to the northwest of where I was sitting, and the door was open and just the screen door was closed. And I'm sitting there watching cartoons, and I just happened to glance over at the screen door, and there was just a man standing there in front of the door looking at me, not saying anything, just and there was something wrong with his face. I remember knowing that there was something not right about his face. I don't know if you've ever, you know, how somebody, their skin looks after they've been underwater for a long period of time, like all wrinkled or pruny.
Yeah.
That's how his face looked, and it was like a gray color. And so I just kind of sat there for a couple of seconds. I don't know how long I sat there. It seemed like a long time to me, but was probably only like 5 or 10 seconds. And I think I was probably about 8 at this time, and I kind of started crying because I didn't know what to do. There was this thing standing at the door, and at my great grandmother's house, there was the door, and then there was a thin section of wall right next to it, and then a large picture window along the front porch. Well, this thing, person, whatever it was, it turned to walk in the direction that it would have walked past that picture window, and it went behind that thin section of wall there, but it never passed in front of the picture window. And so I'm thinking that whoever or whatever it is hiding behind that section of wall for me to come out the door. And so finally, after a while, I got up enough courage to run out the back door and over to my grandmother's house to get my uncle, and there was no one around. It had just disappeared.
Well, that's kind of like Chris, my co-host here. Chris, he's got kind of a similar story to seeing something and it disappearing like that. But yeah, you were talking about the weird face. I've also had an experience where I saw something with kind of a weird face. It's crazy and it's like, ugh, it's just, I don't know. There's something about distorted faces that really freaks me out.
Right, and that's the thing. It was just the face, and it was just a black, like, blob, and it like, thinking back on it, like it seemed like it was part of the wall, like it was
Mhm.
like in the wall, but not really in the wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so that's. I have more, but I'm sure that there's other people that are waiting.
We'll definitely hang out, stick around, and maybe if you want some time, come back up, tell us some more. We appreciate it very much.
All right, you guys have a good night.
You too. Um, let's see. Hey, Cat Mama. Uh, there was something in the comments I wanted to respond to, but I don't see it now. All right, guys, tap the screen, send some hearts. More hearts means more people, means more ghost stories.
So did I
I
miss
hear
anything?
Oh yeah, you missed all kinds of wild and crazy things, actually.
Oh man, did I?
Hmm. You did. I'm not going to tell you what it was because. Oh.
Oh,
No, we had some cool guests come up. We had one person who was talking about like Appalachian magic, which is my specialty. In case you guys don't know, I like to talk about that here on TikTok. I have some videos. You guys want to check them out? Um, Shameless plug. And yeah, no, I guess you didn't miss too much. It was a little slow starting out, but seems like it's picking up pretty well. All right, guys. Guest box is open. Harry, are you playing Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah, oh, I'm not, but my nephew is.
I can hear it.
Sorry.
Um,
your nephew's cool, dude. He plays Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto.
Oh yeah, he comes over to my house and plays the games with me. Got Mortal Kombat 11 we play too. But we don't play that
Uh,
one so much.
yeah, I'm a big
Where's
gamer.
Bean? Raven. Bean is asleep in the floor with Percy. They're snuggling in the floor underneath the desk. So he's here. He'll make an appearance, I'm sure. All right, guys, we got another guest. Let's get them up here and see what kind of spooky story they've got. Hello, welcome.
Hey, can you hear me all right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm from Central Kentucky, and well, Anderson County originally. But I was asking in the comments if anyone had ever played Spotlight Tag. For anybody who doesn't know, you basically go out into a large field in the middle of the night and you catch each other with flashlights. And this is probably 94, 95. Me and a bunch of my friends, they all came to my farm. We had about 80 acres of cattle pasture and woodland. And it was, a nice summer night. And me and three of my buddies, we were some of the first to hide. So we run off into this blackberry bramble and dig ourselves under this pine tree that had about halfway collapsed, but it was just large enough and had just enough cover that we, tucked up underneath it. We were impossible to see, lights wouldn't get us. So we're sitting here for about 20 or 30 minutes, whispering, cracking jokes, and we hear footsteps come up on us. Now, I got to tell you a little bit about the areas. This wasn't really an area where you would have interlopers we were the only kids who would come into the area. The adults, they wouldn't come near this place. The subdivision that adjoined our farm was kind of a rough area. But the farm was basically, you just didn't go there. And so when we heard somebody step up, we thought, oh, it's the searchers. So, we get real quiet. And it's odd because the footsteps are really heavy. They don't sound like, 12, 13-year-old kids, but, we're still, we don't know. There's like 3 groups of us hiding and 2 groups searching. So we sit still, and these footsteps, they just keep walking around us. And then we hear another set of footsteps step in. And this goes on until we start to hear what we thought was just a weird drone of an airplane or something, flying overhead. But it's this, it starts to become this discernible chant, very baritone, the creepy crap you catch in movies. And, we're guessing there's 6 or 8 people, and they're walking in this perfect circle around us, and they're chanting. And the footsteps would, get into syncopation, and then they would fall out. And then it was very odd. And this goes on for about 30 minutes. And then one by one, as they had entered this circle, they all, one goes out and the chanting kind of dies off. We sit here, we're paranoid. We're scared to death. We sit here for another hour after they've all left, and, we disappear. And one of my buddies who was hiding with me, his older brother had taken his girlfriend back to a deeper part of the farm. They weren't interested in playing tag. They had other 17-year-old ideas. And his brother comes up and grabs me, and he's like, which one of you little, whatever expletive he chose to use, which one of you guys was, effing around with us? Like, what do you mean? And he proceeds to tell us about having basically the exact same scenario play out on him. So, we finally convinced him, look, Brad, we're not crazy. We knew you were back there. We're not messing with you. We come back the next day, and there is this, the ground is walked down. And like I said, this is blackberry brambles. It's a sloping terrain. Never once did we hear these people stagger or stumble. Nothing like this ever happened again until that winter. We go back, and again, I said, this is cattle pasture. We found a calf that was probably a couple weeks old that was within 100 feet of this spot. And there was a fresh snow down, but it was sitting on top of the snow. And someone had filed its teeth down to make them jagged like fangs. And it was clean fangs. All of the top row of its teeth had been filed. And it had these clean right angle cuts on it. Not coyotes, not wolves, not wild dogs, not raccoons. And then about 15 or 20 foot closer to where we were hiding, There was a single human footprint, bare footprint in the snow, nothing leading up to it for 10 or 15 feet or away, a single burnt in footprint. Now, of course, that could be, random melting, but that area always was something after that, you would see people watching you from the fence lines. You would see people moving through the blackberry brambles and they didn't make a single noise, which is impossible for anybody that's ever tried to walk near a blackberry bramble. And just, overall spooky place. I've got 100 stories about that farm, but there was something so odd about that night, whether it was, some creepy people or something paranormal. Just everything, especially to a 14-year-old, but still 30 years later, still creeps me out to this day.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I don't think we've ever had a story like that up here before, and we've had a lot of stories. Um, was there any type of like cult or anything in the area maybe that you heard of later on or anything like that?
Not that we ever were able to figure out. I'd searched for years trying to make sense of that night, but I always kind of took it as more paranormal than normal people, just because the fact that these people would come to this random farm, because we never, we figured they weren't from around there, but they come to this random farm, they walk around us, they chant for 45 minutes or so, and then they just walk off. And it happens, to another set of people back on the back of the farm. And I mean, this place is, it's not the middle of nowhere. It's Anderson County, Kentucky. So it's right next to the state capital. But it's not, it wasn't on a tourist route. It wasn't, a populous area by any means. So it would just be so random that a cult decides to come out, do one ritual there, maybe carve up a cow 6 months later, and then never come back. I lived there for another 10 years after that, and nothing on that level, to match that instance. So just
Yeah.
one of those unexplained weirdnesses. No, we didn't
Yeah,
have a
that's
flashlight to ZSAC. We were the hiders, so we were Saul's flashlight.
yeah, that's really spooky. Well, we appreciate you coming up. Did you have any other stories you wanted to share by any chance?
I have a Mothman story if you
Oh, yes. We want to
So,
hear it.
so after telling this actual story to a buddy of mine back right after that, the movie with Richard Gere came out, I told him, I said, my whole life I have really attracted paranormal entities, and I go in somewhere, and if it's, a little activity, it becomes a lot of activity. And he says, oh, well, you need to look into Mothman. So I go and I read the book by Richard Klein or Keel or whatever. I'm going to Point Pleasant. This is something I'm going to do. So my ex-wife and I, we're planning this trip. I take vacation time, and as anything, we're talking about it. And one night we're laying in bed, and before I go to bed, I throw the deadbolt on my door. And I'm a Kentuckian, so I may keep a pew near me, and I lock my bedroom door. So we're laying in bed. It's 12 o'clock, and we hear our front door slam open, bounce off of the wall. And I mean, you hear it shaking on the hinges. It's hit very hard. It knocks pictures that are on this wall down. And our bedroom door flies open, and this black figure, you can make out every clear edge, but the figure had no defining features outside of its outline. It walks through our door, and it turns as it's walking through our room, looks at us, and walks straight through the window. And we were literally talking about going to Point Pleasant to look into the Mothman. And I when I would start to tell people these stories, or this story later on, I would start to have things like fall off the walls and whatnot. And I began to realize that there's the belief that if you look at them, if you pay attention to them, specifically the entity labeled Mothman, they look back. And I decided I will never step foot in West Virginia. I mean, this thing it literally turned its face and walked through the window, but looking at us the whole time. and there was this fear. I could not get out of my bed. Um, my wife was like, you need to go, close the door. You need to do something. We need to figure out what that was. And I'm like, no, you go. Because I was frozen. I mean, I've never been that way in my life. I've been shot at. I've been in house fires. I couldn't move. And I'm absolutely certain that, in fact, that was a manifestation of that energy that we've collectively labeled Mothman.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like for sure. That is so spooky. Yeah, cat mama, that's my reaction too. Is like, wow, that's crazy. um,
That's awesome.
yeah. Yeah, Chris loves Mothman. Um,
Yeah.
That ran me off of Mothman for, the last 19 or 20 years. So
well, we appreciate you coming up. That is pretty terrifying. I think you probably win for the night. Spookiest story goes to you.
thank you. By the way, you did a video. Well, I just caught it a couple weeks ago about the Mud Meeting House, which is just, it's a short walk from where I live. So we've got it on our list now to go take a look at. So
Yeah, you'll have to come back and let us know if you see anything spooky there. I've been meaning to get down that way and I just haven't yet, but I really want to see that place.
here's the really cool thing about it. In case you didn't know, you can rent this place out. They usually do it for like weddings and whatnot. They kind of shy away from the paranormal, but they do allow you to rent the place for a very nominal fee. So yeah, I'll definitely report back on anything that we see or experience.
Awesome. All right. Well, we look forward to hearing more from you, and hopefully you see something spooky down there.
Right? Y'all have a spooky evening now.
You too.
What do you think, Harry? You think Mothman's real?
It's possible. Never.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd like to go check it out.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's funny.
But he-
After all, oh, go ahead, Harry. Sorry.
I was saying when he was talking about the flashlight tag, we used to play that when I was a kid, and we never had anything weird happen. But if you're getting shined by the light, I don't know if it's the bugs that gather from the light or what, but we always got dive bombed by bats. That was the only thing that would ever happen to us. That was bad enough to have bats flopping in your face.
Yeah, I'd say so. Oh man, rabies shots. Holy cow, I have a irrational fear of end up having to get a rabies shot. Tully, it was the Old Mud Meeting House, and I can't believe that I didn't text that one to you, so put that on the list. The Old Mud Meeting House. I actually have a video on it. I don't know the video. I don't have that many videos, so you should be able to find it pretty easily. But yeah, Old Mud Meeting House. Super spooky story behind it. It's allegedly, and I haven't been there, unfortunately, but apparently, like, the door is iron, and it like heats up or something. Like there's some type of paranormal. I think I actually mentioned this on one of the weird streams one night, I believe. But yeah, go watch the video. That'll probably give you more information than I can think of off the top of my head. Is that Bean? No, that's not Bean. That's actually Bean's daddy. He likes to carry fluff balls around in his mouth and yodel at this time of the night. I'm not sure why, but he does. The Bean has risen. No, Bean is still asleep, oddly enough. We had a person and he disappeared. Okay.
Somebody said, "Oh no," like Meredith. So shout out to The Office if anybody gets that reference of the bat.
Oh,
I
You don't
don't
watch
get
The
that
Office, do
reference.
you? Yeah. Oh, okay.
No.
I've seen it a few times. I haven't watched all of it, but I've seen some of it.
It's pretty funny.
All right, guys, tap screen, send some hearts, get some spooky stories in here. And if you're in the comment section and you have a spooky story, but you feel too shy to come up, don't be shy. Come up here, and if you get too shy, I'll just start rambling for you, and then like nobody will notice, and you could just take a breather, and I'll just ramble right through it until you're ready to talk again. Because I saw some people tonight saying that they're too shy to come up here, and you don't have to be. So come up, share your story. Doesn't have to be paranormal. It could just be spooky or weird or creepy in general. It could be
Yeah, just
paranormal,
get over it.
extraterrestrial. What is it, Chris?
Oh, like just get over it and come up here.
Yeah, or just get over it.
Just man up and get up here.
Glitch in the Matrix stories. We could get some of those going in here tonight. Cryptid stories. For those of you who are new here, we had our first Loch Ness Monster story recently. It wasn't technically the Loch Ness Monster, but it was a sea monster story. I was really excited about that. And it's so funny. It seems like we've had a ton of Mothman stories lately, which I think is really cool because I always thought that Mothman was just kind of like a one-off type thing that happened, but apparently a lot of people have experiences.
Yeah.
Kind of makes me wonder if Mothman is a paranormal entity and not actually a cryptid creature.
He might be an alien, apparently,
Could be, yeah.
because he's tied to that whole. What was that guy called? That. Oh man, that Ingress Cold or whatever it is. Somebody help me
Yeah,
out. What's that guy's name? Yeah.
something like that, yeah. Yeah, there you go in the comments.
Oh, and it's the same guy as yesterday. Thank you for coming out of nowhere and helping me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy has some knowledge about all of this stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Injured
All
Cold.
right. Somebody in the comments says that they are coming up. Get up here and tell us your spookiest spooky story. That's what we want to hear. The story that freaks you out the most, the one that you can't explain, that you still think about in the middle of the night sometimes. That's the story we want to hear.
Hmm. Is there a turtle man? Somebody said El Hombre Tortuga, which means turtle man.
I don't know about a turtle man, but I reckon there could be one, you know?
Yeah, like the Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles, there you go. That's a good example. Oh, gosh.
I don't know about a turtle man, but I've seen a big turtle.
Oh, yeah, I've seen a pretty good sized one too, a snapping turtle.
This was a
A
big
snapping
leatherback.
turtle.
I was out fishing, and it had to be every bit of 3.5 to 4 foot long. It was long and narrow. It's the biggest turtle I've ever seen.
Jesse Kate, we will be on here until about 2 a.m. Eastern time, so we've got about 2 hours. So hopefully you get to come back and join us. Snapping turtles. Yeah, one time when I was a teenager, me and one of my friends was out driving around and out in the woods. And, well, everything in eastern Kentucky is out in the woods, so go figure. But there was a big old giant snapping turtle laying right in the middle of the road, and I couldn't get around it. And I was like, get out and go move that turtle. And he was like, no. And I was like, well, what are we going to do if you don't move it? It's not going to move itself.
Oh my
But yeah,
gosh.
so I made him get out and get a stick and like scoot it out the road. I wasn't going to touch that thing. And I wasn't backing up either. So, all
Yeah.
right, let's bring up Nightwolf and see what kind of spooky story Nightwolf has. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Got a spooky story for us?
Yes, I do actually. My story takes place in about 2008 in Michigan in my old house. I was home alone. My mother was at work My little sister was at a friend's house. It was a Saturday night. I was watching Children of the Grave on Sci-Fi. I had just made myself some pizza rolls and had a Sprite or something, and I had to go to the bathroom. I walk through the kitchen, turn to the left, go down the hallway to my bathroom, not paying attention. I flip on the lights, look up, and see this giant white wolf head looking in at me with glowing red eyes. Needless to say, I nearly crapped myself and ran upstairs with my dog, locked my bedroom door that locked, and stayed up there until my mother came home at about midnight from work.
Yeah, I would too. I would have definitely locked myself in somewhere.
Oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg with that house. When I first moved into the house, I frickin' had markers and pencils thrown at me from across the room by invisible force. I would hear disembodied voices, and the activity only picked up when my stepsister moved in. And we finally figured out the little girl's name that was haunting the house. Her name was Ashley, and when she didn't get what she wanted, she would let you know by either scratching you or throwing stuff at you. There were a few times I had been laying on the floor and felt my leg getting pulled. I mean, the house was endless with paranormal. Yeah, I don't...
Sounds like you had a lot of activity there. Somebody had a question for you. I was trying to keep track of it. I think I lost it. They were asking if, like in regard to the dog head or the wolf head, was it inside or was it looking in?
It was looking in at me from outside.
Was it, by any chance, was it like a high window or was it like a regular height? Like what kind of, anything to indicate how big it was?
The window when I was outside would hit me in the chest.
Interesting. Chris, did you have a question? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No.
I'm actually out walking one of my dogs right now so I can go to sleep.
Yeah, sounds like you definitely had some activity going on there at your place. That's really spooky.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I live in Colorado now. Far away from creepy stuff, but yet I'm still a magnet for the paranormal.
Yeah, that'll happen sometimes. Once in a while, they pick a person and they just bother you forever. So you got to get used to the spooky stuff.
that thing, to be honest, I have seen it for many years. It has followed me since I was like freaking in first grade. First time I seen it was at my grandfather's house. It was sitting in the bushes just before dark. Then I moved to Florida. It was sitting under a staircase. Left Florida, moved back to Michigan. It followed me there. I don't know what the thing is. It's probably a freaking skinwalker or something. But I haven't seen it since like 2008, 2009, and I'm happy.
Yeah. There you go. Well, we appreciate you coming up and sharing your story with us. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, thank you, and have a good night.
You too.
There's something just forever unsettling about the idea of something watching you through your own windows, peeking in, especially at night. But you know what? I'd
Yeah.
rather it be a cryptid creature than like a creepy person. Like I would take the paranormal any day over a regular creepy person. You know what I mean?
They're gonna smack me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, see, Harry agrees with me.
I don't know what. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I don't know which one.
I'm
Do I
gonna
have to
grab
pick
some
which
coffee
one?
real quick.
Where else was I supposed to go?
What is it?
I mean, I really.
Oh, my nephew's talking in the background. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I'm gonna grab some coffee real quick. I'll be right back. Chris, if you want the next guest, or you can wait for me, whichever you want to do.
Well, I don't think. I think Sarah took away my powers.
Uh-oh.
Harry, can you do it?
I don't know. No.
I don't even think we have a guest.
You say it's not showing nothing when I click it,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Chris, you're on your same account, right? Because you should still have mod capabilities. Yeah, the guests dropped. They disappeared. There's been a whole bunch of people, like a whole bunch of people tonight came in the guest box and then just like dropped right back out. So I don't know if people are accidentally requesting or what. Everybody tap the screen, send some hearts, get some people in here. If you have a spooky story, feel free to come up and share it. The guest box is open. We are ready to hear some alien abduction stories. If anybody's got one. Try it now, Chris. See if it'll work for you, because it might just be a glitch. I know you said I blame TikTok for everything, but it really does glitch a lot.
You know what? Let me try. Well, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I can't do it. Should I try to disconnect and come back?
I don't know, but the guest just left again. You can if you want to. I don't know. I'll check the
Yeah,
mod settings.
I think there's something wrong. Let me drop out.
Okay. What would TikTok be without technical difficulties?
I went live for my first time today, and there's a lot of mean people out there.
I know. Were you here the other night, or last night, I think it was, when that guy was up here talking about his butt cheeks?
Yeah, that was from the very beginning.
like what, what kind of, I don't know what joy people get out of being turd burglars, but some people are. They just are,
Yeah.
How about now, Chris?
No, I can't do it for some reason. I don't know what happened.
That's weird. I'll work on it here in a second. We do have a guest. I'm going to bring this one up, and we'll see what the Muskie Man has to tell us. Maybe it's a Loch Ness Monster story. Uh-oh. Not connecting. Oh, hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh wait, oh no, my mom. I was talking to someone on. Oh, hi. Anyway, so I was actually I saw a bus light up in the field once late at night.
Sorry, what was it? You saw what light up? Hello? I'm not sure what's going on. I think there's something wrong with the connection. I'm going to drop you. Sorry about that. I don't know. Like, he kind of disappeared on us. I don't know what's going on there. But anybody has a spooky story, feel free to come up and share it. We want to hear your spookiest spooky story, the one that keeps you awake at night.
Somebody said he's having an experience right now.
Oh gosh. Do you have to have headphones on? I think you do. I think if you don't have like earbuds or headphones or something, I think it gets kind of crazy sounding. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know though. Oddly enough, I've never got to be a guest on anybody else's stream, so I actually don't know the answer to that. But I'm assuming you probably need something. Um, will ET be nice if I'm nice to it? I don't know. You would have to ask ET. Can't quite speak for the little fella.
Give him some Reese's
Werewolves.
Pieces.
Yeah, Reese's Pieces and a speak and say. Was that what it was? A speak and spell? Yeah, it was speak and spell,
Yeah,
right?
speak and spell.
Yeah. Um, that's strange. Yeah, so Werewolf says you don't need them. I don't know. We can give it a try, and if the audio's awful, then we'll just wing it from there, I guess. But
You're not using earbuds, are you, Harry?
I got headphones.
I know I said earbuds.
Cat Mama
I'm
says
not.
she doesn't.
Yeah.
The first time I came on here and told a story, I didn't have anything on there, but I don't know if you could hear any extra audio or not.
I don't remember, actually. I talk to so many people on here, it's hard to remember specifically, but
It's
yeah, I
been
don't
a
know.
while ago.
Yeah. Guest box is open, guys. If anybody has a spooky story you want to come up and talk about.
Don't be shy.
In the meantime, everybody can spam the comments with a Mothman or another spooky emoji of your choosing if you are a subscriber. And if you like this channel and you want to support, definitely feel free to hit the little subscribe button up there, become a subscriber. You get some cool stuff. You get a free Mothman. Very cool. I made him myself with my own two little hands. He's a special little guy. Yeah, there you go. Tully's got them all. He's showing them off in the comment section. And also, I am working on a Loch Ness Monster emoji right now. So,
Nice.
yeah. I can't get it to look right. It's so hard to get the emojis to look good at the size that they are in the comments when you use them. I don't know. I need to redo a couple of them that we have right now, but they're still cool. They're very fun. And Jesse Kate. Thank you, Joel. Appreciate that.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm new at this kind of stuff, so I'm kind of shy about talking about my stories. I tell my friends all the time about my stories, but I had a near-death experience on February 5th. I had a major heart attack. A week before that, I had a sleep paralysis, and it felt like something was on top of me, really evil, and it felt so evil that I had to like say the St. Michael's prayer over and over and over again, and then it like snapped out. Are you there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't think she can. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's my headphones.
It's really muffled.
Here, let me take my headphones off. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's a lot better actually.
Okay, perfect. But like, yeah, I almost died, and I had a heart attack right after that. The sleep paralysis happened, and and that was like right when COVID hit. Cause I got COVID, and then I got the heart attack. But I don't know if that was like a creature or it felt really evil, like the most evilest thing that I've ever felt in my life. And I've seen some stuff because I can see things, but that's all I can explain my near-death experience.
Yeah, that sounds like that was pretty intense. I'm sorry that happened to you. Um, definitely not good, but it sounds like you're doing better, and that's good.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I've seen other things too growing up because I see out of one eye, so I see a lot more than most people can. I think, because I can feel, more. I don't know how to explain it, you know. So
So maybe like you're sensitive to the paranormal or
I
something
think
like that?
so. I think so. Yeah, I've seen it ever since I was really young. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a lot of experiences ever since I was a kid too. It kind of seems like some people are sensitive to it and some people are just not. And I guess there's everything in between.
Exactly. And then if you talk about it to your friends, they think you're crazy. So I don't really talk a lot about it, but I'm glad there's these platforms that you can speak up about it, you know?
Yeah, a lot of people say that they really enjoy coming here and sharing stories that they don't normally get to share with people because not everybody wants to talk about the paranormal, which is understandable. But
Yeah. My
but yeah,
husband's
that's what.
a non-believer, but I'm a believer, so it kind of doesn't work talking to him about it too. So,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
I know how that is.
yeah. So
Well, we appreciate you so much. Is there any other story you want to share with us, or?
not that I
Um,
have a lot of experiences, like my aunt's house was really haunted, and I was able to tell her that there's four names on a wall, and we found the four names right the last day I left, and I told her the first name was Sarah, and there was Sarah and David and two other boys, and that's all I can remember. And she told me their last name a couple of years ago, and I can't remember the last name now, but she looked into it after that experience that I had at her house.
yeah.
But it was in Maine, and Maine's like a really haunted place. So, in some parts of Maine. And even in Connecticut, there's a couple of scary stories up there that I've seen in
Mhm.
Connecticut. Uh,
Yeah, New England has a lot of really spooky old history, so lots of cool stories up there.
awesome. I think the main reason I'm so shy is because I hate my voice.
Oh, I get, I don't know if I'd say shy. I get anxiety before I come on the live streams, just like one
Maybe
quick
that's
burst of
what it is.
anxiety.
I don't know.
Well, we appreciate you so much, and hopefully you'll stick around and hang out in the chat with us and listen to some stories.
All right, thank you for letting me share my story. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming up.
All
Have
right,
a good night.
you too.
You guys, Chris got abducted. It finally happened to one of our own. He got abducted. You know what's funny is like he was teasing me like, "Oh, you always say that TikTok is glitchy and TikTok's broken and it's TikTok's fault." And I was like, "It is glitchy and broken." And then look, now he's like totally glitched out tonight. Uh Funny. Ha ha ha. Ha ha. Um I'm going on no sleep, guys. I'm a little bit weird tonight.
Hello again. I figured I'd
Hello.
pop up and explain another story that I had. I wouldn't necessarily say this is paranormal, but, well, I guess it would be considered paranormal. All right. So, as I mentioned yesterday, I'm a practitioner of Druidry, and as a follower of a specific deity, it's very uncommon to experience anything that supposedly is tied to this deity. In any case, so I'm sitting there at my altar, and I'm basically saying, if the goddess Morrigan is hearing what I'm saying, please give me any sign whatsoever. And I had this candle that I had dressed with herbs and whatnot, and I had lit for her. I leave the room, and not 5 minutes later, I come back to the room. The candle had exploded, and my desk was on fire. So I'm
Wow.
not sure how to equate that to anything that can be explained by logic, but it was definitely a sign that was given to me by an ancient Irish war goddess.
Yeah, definitely. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. Like I said, I wasn't sure if you would equate that necessarily with supernatural or paranormal, but it's a fun story, needless to say.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
I would love to get more stories like that on here. I'm thinking about trying to put something up on the banner, but I'm not exactly sure like how to word it.
Right.
But yeah, that's really cool. That's definitely unique to a lot of the stories we get. And Ollie, I knew Ollie would love that story actually, and he's in the comments and he says, "What was it? That was an intense sign." Yeah, that's what I think too. That's
No, I
awesome.
wouldn't necessarily say it's craft gone wrong simply because if you understand the behavior patterns of certain deities that exist within different folklores, you can kind of get an idea of the type of how they would present themselves to you. So I wouldn't say it's the craft gone wrong if this is in regards to such an intense deity that has such strong connections to things like battle, death, prophecy, sovereignty, protection, etc., etc. So yeah, it's not. It's something that you could expect from her.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure.
But yeah, there you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming up again.
Yeah,
And
not a
we're
problem.
glad you're here tonight. Glad you came back.
Yeah, if you have any questions about anything in regards to, because they were talking about lycanthropy earlier, and it's very difficult to kind of go on a wild tangent about the origin of lycanthropy and whatnot in the box. But yeah, that's something I've looked into as well.
Yeah, that's interesting actually. I'm going to give you a follow back and check out uh, your videos and stuff and if the button will work. There we go. All right. Well, thank you for coming up.
Absolutely.
Have a good night.
You too.
Very cool. We got to get some more witchy stuff in here and all that type of thing. I love that type of stuff. So we don't talk about it enough on here.
How you doing?
Hello and welcome.
Hey, I just didn't know if anybody else had the chance to share theirs yet. I can wait until you're ready.
Oh no, everybody's just taking a turn coming up. We've had dozens of people. Feel
Of
free
course.
to.
Well, my paranormal story was I investigate over at Penthurst over in Pennsylvania. I don't know if you ever been to Penthurst or if anybody has ever been there, but it is a psychiatric facility for people that are just not. They said it in a really weird way back in the day, so I can't say it on TikTok the way they describe those people. But just know that they weren't all there in their heads. I went there with a couple of my other investigation teams. We went there, had a bunch of stuff. Went down there in the children's basement. It was absolutely terrifying. We had cat toys getting thrown around the room. We had shadows being seen. We also had an SLS camera out there, also seeing a bunch of just bodies and forms. It was absolutely terrifying. It was the most paranormal I've ever seen in my life down there in Penhurst. Actually, they used to kill a lot of the people that were there, and then I mean unalive them. I'm sorry, unalive them, and then put them under the ground, under the facility. So it was absolutely terrifying. I went there. I was there all night, so it was an 8 hour investigation. So that was the most paranormal I've ever seen. I mean, we were asking these ghosts questions, and they were answering them with beeps. So we'd be like, one beep if it's a yes, two beep if it's a no, and they would actually hit it on the machines. So it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, it sounds like it's pretty active there.
Very, very, very active. They get a lot of people. Just that night, someone got scratched in their back. They had 3 scratch marks all down their back, just in the basement area, where they were asking
Mhm.
questions. But there was a couple of serial killers that were there as well that were being housed. So there's a lot of demonic entities there that let's say gather around the innocent souls.
Very interesting. I would love to investigate a place like that. That's really
Hey, you
cool.
gotta go. I'm gonna tell you, it's called Penthurst over in
Mhm.
Pennsylvania. I went there with a lot of my other investigators. It's absolutely insane. They have investigations over there on YouTube, and we did one as well on YouTube. You could see everything that we did. We went over into the dental area as well, where they pull the teeth of the young children there as well. That place was extremely terrifying as well. We got a lot of readings and a lot of demonic entities. It wasn't anything nice that night. It was a lot of demonic entities that were coming through telling us to leave, that we were not welcome there. It was absolutely terrifying.
Definitely sounds like it. Well, thank you so much for coming up and telling
Yeah,
us
no
about that. I
problem, no
appreciate
problem.
it.
Thanks for having the live.
Yeah, have a good night.
Live.
You too.
Yeah.
Spooky.
Penhurst is one of
What?
the. No, I was just gonna say Penhurst is one of the well locations.
Oh
He's
no, Chris. Yeah, Chris, your bars, it's showing that you have like 2 bars. Like your connection's really bad.
I don't know what's going on. Wait, can you hear me right now?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay. I think there's a storm going on
Yeah,
over
you're
here.
really
Hold on,
crackly.
give me 1 second.
He's dealing with that. I got a cat sitting on my chest.
I'm surprised they don't have cats crawling all over me. They usually are by this time of the night. I guess they're all extra sleepy for some reason. The
Every
ghost is
time I try
Is
interfering
that
with
any
Chris's
better?
connection. Yes, that's better, and the little red
I
bar thing is
know.
actually gone. What did you do?
Well, I had turned my Wi-Fi off because it was messing up, but I
Mhm.
rebooted it.
Huh. Yeah, no, it's working good now, seems like. All right, we got a couple people waiting. I'm gonna bring up the next guest. And Chris's connection is gone again.
Hmm.
Hello and welcome. Hello, hello.
Oh, am I on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never did this before, but I've watched you a few times, and I do have a story, and it's
Okay.
100% true. And not only do I remember this, but my mom remembers this clear as day. So I might have been around 12, 13, old enough to have a good memory of this. And me and my mom are going to my grandpa's house. Pretty normal, nothing weird about it. And for context, my grandpa had an old logging semi truck sitting on the side of his house. He never got rid of anything. And this thing had been sitting there for as long as I can remember. I never saw it move my entire existence. So we go over there one day, and he happens to not be there. But when we pull up, the truck is gone. So it's like, oh, wow, guess he finally got rid of that or whatever. And I can distinctly remember walking up and looking at the ground, and you could see where something had pulled the truck like out. The grass is pushed down and there's ruts in the ground. So it's pretty obvious. So it was just kind of weird, like, that's odd. Guess he got rid of it. And my mom had called him like the next day. And I distinctly remember over the phone when she asked him, he said, "Oh, yeah, I finally sold it for scrap." Whatever, no big deal. So we go back about maybe a week later, pull up, and the truck's sitting there next to the house like it had always been. And I can remember initially thinking, that's weird. I wonder if they brought it back. Because, it didn't run. It hadn't run since like the 70s. It never ran. It could be used for nothing but scrap. So we go inside the house and we're talking, to my grandpa for a minute. My mom asked him, "Hey, what happened with the truck? Thought you got rid of that." And he looked at us like we were just crazy. It actually angered him that we kept asking, "Well, what do you mean? What happened with the truck? It was gone. What are you talking about? That truck hasn't run in 4 years." He was adamant that truck, he was never going to sell that truck. I think he thought maybe we were trying to talk him into it, get rid of some of his clutter. When me and my mom walked outside to look, the grass was still growing up around the tires. That truck literally hadn't moved in 40 years. And that truck sat there. Now, this is in, I want to say 2003, 2004. That truck sat there till 2018, when my brother actually had it removed off the property once my grandpa went to the hospital. But I remember this happening. My mom remembers this happening. I saw the ruts in the ground. That truck was not there. No one else has this memory but me and my mom. And my grandpa carried that till his deathbed. He never got rid of that truck.
Wow, that
So
sounds
that's
like
my
a
weird
glitch in the Matrix.
story.
That is crazy. That's
And
so
back
weird.
then, it wasn't a popular term. Nobody knew what a glitch in the Matrix was. My mom called it a Twilight Zone moment because she's that generation.
Yeah.
She was just like, "This is just so weird." But that truck never moved. But it was gone. It was gone.
So strange. Oh my gosh. Wow. That's crazy.
But anyway, you got a great show, so I'll hop off now and go back to working.
Well, we
Thanks for having
appreciate you. Yeah, thank you. Oh, Chris, did you hear that one? That was a good glitch in the Matrix story.
Yeah, that is awesome. I'm
That
sorry,
is
guys.
so
I don't know what's going
spooky.
on.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. It's just I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason to it, and it's honestly it's probably TikTok because I get notifications a lot that's like it says like your network connection is unstable, and it's just TikTok that does it. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with my actual Wi-Fi connection. Um,
Yeah. It could be the weather over here though. It's like super windy.
yeah, that could be it actually.
Hey,
Hey, welcome back.
hey, I just wanted to come back. I didn't get to tell you guys that I stole a cross from Penthurst. I didn't look. Listen to me. Listen to me. My buddy, it was his birthday. He's really into Penthurst. He really gets into it. So I stole the cross from there. There was a cross in the dentist area, right? And it
Uh-huh.
was from the clergy of the Catholic Church. And it said it right on the back. It's metal. It can't get burned. None of that stuff. I don't know why I took it. I took it, and ever since I've taken it, I've had absolutely insane dreams. And I'm not playing with you guys. I picked this up, and I tell people not to touch it. My buddy keeps it in this special box that he says is blessed by the church. So nothing really gets out of it anymore. But when I had it, for probably about 2 weeks straight, I had dreams like I was in Penthurst myself. Like it was open. It was still operational. There were kids there that were like going through stuff and like banging their heads off against walls. Like it was absolutely clear dreams. And I would always see a demonic entity just sitting there in the back, just waiting. And I don't know if I should put it back. I mean, I really don't know if I should put it back. I told all my buddies about it, and I'm absolutely terrified of this cross. I won't touch it anymore, but my buddy touches it. He said it doesn't affect him at all. I guess it just wants something to do with me. But I definitely think it's absolutely like cursed of something.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think I should return it. I just wanted to come back up here and tell you guys that because somebody was saying, do you have any personal experiences? And yes, I do have multiple personal experiences like all the time because of me taking that cross. And it was in the place where there was children too. So I don't know if like a demonic entity attached itself, and I'm sitting there just with this demonic entity in my house now. But it's creepy. It's absolutely terrifying.
Everybody in the comments, it's unanimous. They say take it back.
I
So
can't take that place is like 2 hours away.
I would keep it. I
I'm
would
gonna
like,
keep it,
I don't
man.
know.
I can
Yeah.
tell you guys more. I can tell you guys more. One time, me and my buddy were playing with a Ouija board when we were about like 5 or 6 years old, and my whole family was there witnessing it. And we just wanted to talk to some spirits. As soon as we ended up like not believing in it, somebody took their hands off and stuff. We moved out the room, and the table lifted off of the floor. I'm not playing and started to shake. Nobody believes me when I say this stuff, but I live in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is one of the most haunted places in the United States. I live by Gettysburg and Penthurst and all these extreme places where like multiple people died. So like when it comes to seeing ghosts, they're everywhere in Pennsylvania. You can go to one spot and realize that, hey man, there was 50,000 people that unlived themselves right here, you know, and it's scary. That Ouija board story, nobody believes it, and I swear I don't play with Ouija boards anymore ever since then, but it started to play music and lift it off of the floor.
That
The thing
is
doesn't have any
crazy.
batteries in it, has nothing.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you have had a very spooky life. Lots and lots of experiences.
Yeah. Glad there's a live
Very.
out here that doesn't think we're crazy.
Oh, once in a while someone wanders in and tells us we're all nuts, but it's okay. We don't
No,
mind.
well, I just wanted to share that, just let you guys know I did steal a cross. I probably won't bring it back, but I'm having horrible dreams. Please save me.
Well, that is pretty cool. Good luck with your cross.
All right, thank you. I can't get rid of it. It's unburnable.
There you go. Yeah, unanimous in the comments, though, to get rid of it. What do you think about that, Harry?
I wouldn't take anything from a place like that. That's just me, but I wouldn't take anything from a place like that. Just for the
Yeah.
simple fact, something could follow you home.
Yep. You bring some real bad energy back with you or something. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I would love to have souvenirs from some of the spooky places I've been. I ain't afraid.
I, I'm not afraid of the energy and stuff like that, but there's there's all kinds of bad stuff out there. So I don't know. It's just hard. I just wouldn't want to bring that back in and have that kind of. I guess I don't know if you call it karma or what, because from taking something that does not belong to you, and it could
Yeah.
have belonged to somebody who actually lived there and had died. That's could be why he's bringing back all this energy with him. I don't know. It's just me.
Jasmine says Harry is spitting facts. So yeah, definitely, they definitely agree with you. All right, we got more people. Yes. Oh, my button is not working. There we go. Hello and welcome. Hello, hello. I think somebody's asleep. I'm going to drop you in case you're sleeping. If you're awake later, feel free to come back.
Yeah.
um, everybody tap screen, send some hearts. Let's get it spooky in here. More spooky stories.
Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Hey, Ellie.
Hi, how's everyone going? How's everyone doing?
hanging in there.
Well, I do have, there are some stories that I have to share. See, I'm from Houston, Texas. So a lot of people don't realize, and I never realized this growing up, that there's a lot of spooky shit that happens in Texas. We've got cryptids. I didn't realize, I knew there was Bigfoot sightings in East Texas. And they were north, right? I never knew they were like close to home. Like never. Because there have been, and I realized this only 3 weeks ago, that there were sightings of Bigfoot and stuff like that towards League City, like, in Galveston National Park and stuff like that, because it's a big swampy area. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess the furry guys everywhere. But my story tonight is I don't know, it's a random thought that I had while you guys were telling your story, is because it pertained around my early 20s. Um that's when, pretty much we were camping. I'm trying to remember. It was Arlington. It was near Arlington, Texas. Is where I went camping with some of my college classmates. We just were going there. And it was Bowden Road. I don't know if anyone has ever heard, or if you guys are living in Texas, if you guys know about Bowden Road. Um, that's all I remember as we were driving down that road. Um, there's a nickname for it, and I didn't realize until after the experience that it is called the Devil's Road. So, and again, none of us at all ever heard of the Devil's Road. Like, we were born and raised in Texas our entire lives. All these things are like beyond us. We never heard of this. And, people outside of our state have always heard of these things, but no, us never. So we're driving down this road. We were like going into Arlington. So we're in the Arlington County. And, um, there's a cemetery over there. And again, at the time, we didn't realize it was a cemetery. But it was Martha's, I forgot that, but it was like Martha something cemetery. It's quite famous, but it's quite haunted. And again, none of us knew at the time that it was one of those haunted places. So first things first, we're driving. Sun kind of is getting, it's not like really sunset yet. It was around like maybe 4 p.m. because we had lunch and everything and we left. So we were going in. We were pretty much they were what was it? We were in a van. So we went camping, we finished our weekend, we were driving. There was a strange sighting. Apparently someone was trying to get a hit, like, trying to get like a ride from us, right? Now there were 6 of us in the car. We're already, pretty much booked. But we're not the ones who will pick up a hitchhiker. Again, my witchy vibes are popping up and everything's telling me we're not going to slow down. Just, it's kind of like a dirt road because we were taking a shortcut. Again, beginning of a horror story. We decided to take a damn shortcut because we left late. So, so we went down the old highway, which is Bowden Road, and that's what happened. Like, there was somebody trying to get, a ride, like, with the thumbs up and everything, a hitchhiker. Now, get this. At first look, it was like a real person, right? Second look, when I turned around and I was talking to a friend, I was grabbing for a bag of chips. I was in the front seat, the passenger seat. So I was grabbing a bag of chips and I was like, oh, we're not picking that person up. And guys, let's, drive. And I was telling my friend to scooch over, gear to the left a little bit to not hit the person. in case they want to jump. All these things that are in my, like, these survival things in my head. Anyways, I grabbed the bag of chips and I looked back as I sit back at the hitchhiker as we get closer. The hitchhiker don't look like a hitchhiker in this day and age, like from the 21st century. Apparently their clothes are very old and dingy, like old. I'm talking about from the colonial era, like them overalls, because I quite frankly remember the guy was he was wearing a white like pirate shirt, and they had the brown like dirty overalls. And there is nobody who wears that. And I don't know if it was Hillbilly Hick or whoever, but we're not stopping to ask questions. We got somewhere to be, so we kept going. I know it sounds rude, but still. So I felt like we were going down the road, Bowden Road, and things got dark fast. This is summer, okay? It was around 4-ish. This is daylight saving times. Sunlight in Texas should go down around 7:30. Now, no. This didn't happen. We were 3 hours away from home where our destination's supposed to be. But all of a sudden, the car stops working. It is around 5 o'clock-ish, and it's kind of dark. I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's a storm coming. The car stopped working. Like, it just, like, something happened, like, out of the ordinary. So my friend, Andrew, he's trying to pull the car over. And he's like, I don't know what's going on. We have to check it out. Like, we're freaking out. I thought we have a flat tire or something. No, it's just the kind of power kind of went out, right? So I was like, dude, did you check the battery or not? Like, I thought everything was good. I thought you said the SUV was good. And he said, everything is good. I don't know what the heck is going on. So we come out of the car. We all step out. And we check the hood. So see what's going on. Everything's good. The battery's good. It's all good. The car just turned off. And of course, a couple of our our friends, our girls, they really wanted to, go and pee all of a sudden. Imagine this is exactly a horror story. Everything in those movies that y'all see and y'all like, don't do that. You could have just peed right there outside of the car. Nobody cared. We were all pre-med students anyway. They could have done that. But no, they just had to go walk in there and they're like, oh, we got to go pee. So they did. So something was wrong. I think the car was overheated. And Andrew's like, let's find some water somewhere. So there's like an open trail, like kind of a thing. So we go, right, to find water. I'm pretty sure there's a creek somewhere. And he grabs like a thing. Our water bottles weren't enough, and we're not going to risk water bottles. So we end up towards the edge. I see something. The girls were like behind a big tree or whatnot. I was like, okay, you do your business. I'm going forward. As me and Andrew are going, finding water, two of our friends are back at the van, staying there. I see a tombstone, like a very old, dingy tombstone, right? Like, it's weird. And then I walk a little further and I see another grave, like a grave site. And this one was 2 sticks, like a cross, right? So there's that. Further we go, it got dark. Like, I don't know how, but it got real dark real quick. Chris. Apparently, we ended up being in that graveyard. And we were on Devil's Road. So, again, we didn't know at the time. So we ended up being in a graveyard, and apparently, somehow, our dumbasses were interested and wanted to get all spooky. Again, we were like, 22. We were like 21, 22 at the time. So we were like, ooh, graveyard, let's go, and, and everything. So we were the dumbest stuff. We were interested in looking at it, and something pulled me personally to the graveyard as sympathetically, right? I was looking at these grave sites. I was kind of interested to see, how old they were, what's the story with this grave site. But I don't know why we started to play around in this grave site and started to like hang around, but it got dark real fast. And guys, I'm telling you, I felt like it was just sunny. And as soon as we entered the gravesite, it was very, very dark. Like it hit nighttime. Like it was sunset. That's how it is, right? So all of a sudden, we're trying to walk and find our way back. It's like we got stuck. We were trying to find our way back. As we were trying to go back to the van and we had our cell phones, we are trying to call somebody. My cell phone Andrew had because others went out, right? So here's what happened. We started seeing apparitions. Out of the corner of my eye, I see this very tall, dark lady in a dress. These apparitions were very old, tell you. This lady was pointing somewhere. That's what we saw. And I wasn't the only one who saw this. So we started getting freaked out and we started running. And we had a feeling that something was chasing us. Something was coming after us because one of my friends, her hair got pulled. Like pulled to the side. What ended up in laughter and everything and jokes, it just was very, very, it just ended up very bad because I felt scared, but at the same time, I felt like protective. And I was like, okay, you know what? Everyone hold hands with each other and let's go in the same direction. So, all in all, her hair got pulled. We saw an apparition and we started running, like, fast walking back to the trail and get out, like, go back to the car because Andrew was on the phone with our other two friends in the car. I look behind me, I see multiple dark figures, humanoid figures, but multiple, as if they're coming like closer to us. And I was like, just don't look back and let's keep going. Just keep walking. And I started getting louder. I was like, let's just keep walking. And, a couple of them were starting to cry. And I was like, shut up. Do not cry. Don't make any emotions. Keep walking. So as we keep walking, we get closer to the car. I look behind me. The apparitions have faces. Some of them, those figures, started having faces. I didn't look that hard or deep enough to know what these apparitions were. I didn't hang around to ask names. I didn't want to hang around to ask names. I'm not there for a conversation. Something really malevolent is kind of like I'm getting those very bad vibes. Everything, like the hairs in the back, I don't think I even have some, but the hairs on my back were standing up. Everything was standing up, and everything in my body told me, keep going and get in that car and drive. So we did. So we got into the car, we closed the door, and we tried to get the car going, right? And the car started, and we we stepped on it and we drove out of there. The last thing as we were driving back was that dark lady apparition, that the tall ass lady. She was pointing again to like the opposite direction as where we were going. And that was a hell no experience that I had. It was a crazy experience. And none of us ever really talked about it ever at all. That was like a quiet car ride home. And we ended up at a Denny's, I believe. Was it a Denny's or an IHOP? I don't know. But we wanted sugar. Like it was time for sweets. So that's what it was. And so I don't know. I forgot. I'm going to get the name and I'm going to write it down in the comments. But I wanted to share that little spooky thing with you. Here's the thing about the souvenir that came back. There were a lot of marks. We stopped at the Denny's in Houston, right? Like a IHOP or Denny's. Can't remember, but it was pancakes. We stepped out of the car and we were on a dirt road at that time. There was a lot of handprints. As we got out of the car, in the parking lot, there was a lot of strange looking handprints all up on the side and back of that car. There's that.
Were they like full size adult handprints, or were they like little kid handprints, or could you tell?
Not the little children one. These were adult, like these were bigger than like adult handprints. Longer fingers, no fingerprints, but this was like almost humanoid in nature. Like we saw them. I started praying as soon as I saw it, and we were like, we need to get inside and stay inside. We need to talk. So basically, as we were just, chilling out, recuperating, waiting for food and whatnot, we pretty much talked about it one time. I did what I could to cleanse. I was like, okay, this is what I did. I remember ordering rosemary, like some little herbs. Like, hey, I was like, did you have some rosemary or something like that? And Andrew had a lighter for his cigs, and I just lit those rosemary, and I was just like saying a prayer that everybody could be familiar with to cleanse us and protect us from whatever may have followed. Given there are a lot of horror stories and legends of that cemetery, only a couple of us realized that after we kind of like did a little, Scooby-Dooing, like, checking out what it was in the library and in the internet, because we went back to school the next week and we were studying, and my mind went sidetracked. I want to know what it was. So yeah, it was that weird cemetery, and every local in Arlington will warn you, do not go to that cemetery, and don't go down Bowden Road or Devil's Road, and don't pick up any hitchhikers because they're not really hitchhikers.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty spooky.
Yeah. I didn't want to scare too many people, but if y'all are in Texas, there is, it's actually a real thing. And it took us a year later, for me at least, to figure out what it was. But yeah, I will not be going anywhere near Bowden Road anytime soon.
Don't blame you. Wow.
Yeah, but it's a nice hot spot. I would say if you ever in Texas, and you want to kind of check that place out, I would go, but I would go with precaution and I would go with the team, because the ghosts there, I would say, or any dark and evil spirits, or even the dead, human spirits, they're easily provoked. Easily.
And also, I just want to say that every time you have a spooky experience, it's obligatory that you go to either IHOP or Denny's. You have to.
I know. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What do they have these days? Is it still IHOPs and Denny's? I'm kind of on a sugar-free diet, but oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know these days, but that's where we always used to go after ghost hunts. It's like IHOP or Denny's.
I
It just
know,
guzzle
but
coffee.
yeah, it helps you. It's like a feel-good thing. But now, I think personally, if I had that experience again, I would go to a cheesecake factory, and I wish they were 24 hours. Cheesecake always sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope we got some good, some more motivated people that tell stories. I'm gonna hop off. Who's next?
Alrighty. Well, thank you for coming up and telling us about that.
Of course.
We lost Chris again. He's getting abducted over and over and over. Those aliens are just not going to let him have any peace tonight.
Hopefully there's no probing.
Yeah, I know, right?
No.
Hello, welcome. Hello, hello. Are you with us? We're gonna drop you because I think you might be sleeping. If you're awake later, feel free to come back. Um, we got lots of sleepy people tonight. You know what I think it is people fall asleep listening to spooky stories, and I think that's so adorable. I love it.
It happens all the time.
I know, isn't it
He's
great that
back.
people just? Oh, yes, he is back. I think all of our guests, though, I think they're all catnapping or
Hi,
something.
hi, hi.
Hello, welcome.
Hi, how are y'all?
Good, how are you?
Ugh, struggling. Okay. What is like, is it just whatever has happened to me that we're talking about? Or
We want to hear your spookiest spooky story, the one that scared you the absolute most.
I have two,
Okay.
if that's okay.
Yeah.
Um, so I live in Tennessee. I know you talk about Tennessee all the time. I've watched multiple videos. But there is a house that is down the road from me, and my aunt actually lived in it. And it used to be like a war hospital. I don't know which war. I'm sure it was for like the Revolutionary War. Um, Pretty gorgeous house. And they had a little replica of the house, like a dollhouse. And I was there one day with my aunt, and they had twins, somebody else that lived with her. And they kept talking about this little girl in a black dress, okay? And like a lot of stuff would happen. But the one thing that really threw us was me and my aunt was doing laundry in the laundry room, and they started screaming. We didn't know what was going on. So we ran up the stairs, and there was like stuff being thrown all over their room, like we couldn't get in. Um and then we finally got in, and that night they went to sleep, and one of the twins woke up with three scratch marks down her back. Like they couldn't reach it. The doctors had no idea what happened. And then that's when the twins told us that the little girl was like, not my accent. Anyways, they told us that the little girl um said that if they had told anybody about her, um that they would do something to her mama. Well, they told us what's been happening. We seen it. And the next morning their mom was in the attic and actually found pictures of the little girl in the attic. And her mama was pushed down the stairs. And like there's more that's happened there. Oh, my son's tablet. Hold on. There's more that's happened there, but that's what I was there for. And then
Mm-hmm.
the second story I have, we have a graveyard right next to my house. Yeah, it was Star Wars. But we have a graveyard, and I was like 6, 7, and we was like, let's go take pictures. Okay? Great, great time. With a Kodak camera, and there was a girl, like a figure floating behind my sister in the graveyard. And there used to be this old Delta Queen ship that would come down the Tennessee River. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's supposedly haunted too.
No, I'm not
But
familiar with that actually.
yeah, it's called the Delta Queen. Um, and then we went and took pictures of it because it was coming through. And that same lady that was in the pictures at the graveyard was in the picture by the river. She followed us.
Oh, wow.
And then we come home and took pictures in our living room, and there was like 3 or 4 orbs in my house. Like, my little area freaks me out. It does. But yeah, that's mostly the main stories that I have. And then I also have a recent story of a mimic. that mimicked my son one morning. Was cleaning my car out and he was asleep, and I heard it dead in my ear. It was just like a low hey in his voice, and it was just crazy. And I come back in here and he was dead to the world. He was not even awake.
You know, it's so
Like, it
strange.
creeped me out.
We get a lot of those stories on here. We had a couple last night, I think. But yeah, that's super creepy when that happens.
Yeah, 'cause he'll go to my window and he'll like if I'm outside doing something and he's in here with somebody, he'll go, "Mama, mama, mama, hey, hey," at the window because he could see me. And that's why I was thinking maybe he woke up. It was like 9 a.m., but it was so close in my ear, like he was outside with me. And it's never happened to me before. I took my tail back inside. It was not having it. Nope. But yeah, that's me. I'm Rachel. Um, that's about all I got.
Alrighty, well, we appreciate that.
Um,
Very spooky. Keep your eyes
oh,
out for some
also,
spooky stuff and update us.
I don't know if you've ever read about it, but there is a thing down here. It's called Walls of Jericho.
Hmm.
It's in Alabama. Um, there's like two or three skinwalkers that people have seen. It's super,
Interesting.
super cool. Um,
Yeah.
but I will let somebody else come up. Thank you for having me. I
Thank
will
you. We
stay and listen
appreciate
to
you.
the rest. But
Alrighty.
good night, y'all.
Good night. Chris, you're back. You're alive.
Yeah, I'm coming in and out.
I've lost track at this point. Were you already here? And I don't know. You've been in and out so many times. You guys, Chris is
That's
such a
me.
trooper. He's having a terrible connection tonight, and he's still with us. Everybody send him something. Send him some roses or something. I don't know.
Oh no, you
Uh,
don't have to send me anything. I don't
he's
deserve it.
hanging in there. You deserve it. You definitely do.
Send him to Harry.
Send Harry some too. Yeah, absolutely. You all click the screen,
Oh,
send some hearts. Did you all know that if you tap it enough, that there will be like a little bar come up on the top and you can challenge yourself to like a fast tap situation? It's crazy. I don't know what the point of it is, but it's kind of cool. Feel free to do that as much as you want. Um, Leak is back.
Hello, hello. I'm back with another scary story.
Alrighty.
All right. Now this one's gonna blow y'all socks off. I hope everybody's awake. Okay, so let's start it off. Okay, I'm gonna go back to when I was 18, which seems like like a long time ago. But I was 18. I was going through a pretty dark time in my life. Let's just say it like that, like most 18-year-olds. So I went over to a tattoo parlor, right? You know, the tattoo place was pretty nice, but there was a guy there that was kind of like, I'm just gonna say it. I hope that TikTok doesn't get too mad at me, but he was a Satanist. You know, I'm just gonna put that out there. And I wanted to get a dark tattoo for one of my dreams that I had. I don't know, it was just a really bad nightmare. So I got this really dark tattoo just to sum it up. It's like a whole sleeve piece that has death on the sleeve. So the creepy thing about that tattoo is after I got that tattoo and it healed, a lot of people that were in my family started to pass away. And this guy told me that I tried to make this tattoo as dark as possible, you know, and put as much. It's dark. It's nothing but a blacked out tattoo all over my arm of death, literally with the siphon and everything. And he's just surrounded by woods and woodsy areas. Just something that I saw in there. And I feel like there was a demonic entity attached to it. Later, a year later, my cousin drowned, literally. After that, my aunt, she had a trailer fall on top of her car and smash her under the trailer. And then my grandmother passed away. You know, my uncle passed away. There were so many of my family members passing away, and especially like at that time, my girlfriend, her family started passing away too. So we probably had about 15 people after I got that tattoo pass away. And that's not even the creepiest thing. Well, my mom, I called my mother multiple times. She told me that she practices witchcraft. And that was just one of the stories about that tattoo. But she practices witchcraft. She's been a witch ever since she's like 14 years old and like hardcore into it. So I went downstairs one day and found my mom with like a pentagram sitting in the middle of it with a bunch of salt and a bunch of like candles and all this stuff. And she told me to go right back upstairs. So that's exactly what I did, you know? So I went upstairs and she ended up coming upstairs and explaining to me that I could see stuff in my dreams. And ever since I was a younger child, that I would tell her stories that I could see stuff in my dreams. So this is where I'm going to with this story. So I've had multiple times, well, I'll say 2 times since my mother has told me that in the last 15 years where I predicted an event very, very accurately. So there's only been 2 times, and one was recent and one was about 4 years ago. So I don't know everybody where they were at when they figured out where COVID was, correct? Like a lot of people knew where they were at. Well, before COVID started to become big, I had a dream that thousands of people unalived themselves. You know, and I'm just gonna say that like that. Thousands of people by the mounts. And I can even get somebody in here to even confirm this. I'm not playing. I woke up. I'll tell you. Jazzy, come in here real quick. Just 2 seconds, please. All right, cool. So I'm gonna finish the story. So, like I said, I had this dream, thousands of people were gonna pass away. So I got literally one of my family members coming in here now, and I'm gonna tell him this story, and then I'm gonna tell him the one that I told you recently. So I was sitting up here, had the dream about thousands of people dying. I woke right up out of my sleep. My whole family was around me, and I looked at him and I said, "You guys need to watch out. There's about to be thousands of people that are gonna lose their lives." Thousands. And then a week later, the first report in New York came in where they put the first, I don't know, 1,000 to 2,000 bodies on an island over in New York. And so that happened. And then COVID started getting extreme, and all my family was just looking at me like, what the hell? Like, how the hell did he predict that? You know? And I think it has to, like I said, I think it does have to do with the tattoo a little bit too. But she's in here now. And I remember I had a dream and I woke up and I looked right at her and I said, there's going to be a tsunami somewhere in anywhere. I don't know where it's going to be. I just woke up and there was a bunch of people getting swept away by this tsunami. And I woke up. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
So I woke up. What did I tell you when I woke up?
There's gonna be a big tsunami somewhere. I don't know where, and then a couple of days later, it was in California.
Exactly. So she just confirmed that there was a tsunami in California that literally was a really big wave recently this year that swept away 10 people, and they only recovered like four people out of and they all died. And I predicted that 2 days before that happened. You know, and it's kind of crazy because I keep having these dreams, and my mom practices witchcraft crazy and has always told me that you could predict stuff in your dreams. And she's always said that. And for some reason, I've only had it twice in my life. Twice in my life where I've accurately predicted something. That's the only 2 times I've ever said something, because most of the time my dreams have nothing to do with just me like running through a valley of flowers or like meeting a girl or something. I never really have dreams that are like really specific until those 2 times. And then I had to say something. Someone told me to say something because it involved hundreds of thousands of people dying, you know? And I told my mom, and she was just like, I've always told you that, like, you could predict stuff, you know? And it's kind of scary because my mom is like, she works in demonic witchcraft. There ain't nothing good that she does. So she's always like casting spells and stuff like that. So it's kind of crazy. So when I think I held that cross from Penthurst, that it affected my dreams quite bad. Like whatever entity's in that cross, it gives me the same dream every single night, which is just walking through that Penthurst with a lot of the patients there and getting to know a lot of the people. So that's the 2 stories I gotta say, which is absolutely crazy to me. I don't know how I was able to predict all that stuff. It actually happens. I got somebody right here telling you that they heard me wake up, and then the tsunami literally took away over 12 people. Only 4 bodies were recovered out of the 12 people. So that's true. It's 100% true. I think that I actually predict things. I don't know what's going on, but I have dreams all the time. So I can randomly wake up and say something, and it actually comes true, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's intense. We appreciate you coming back up.
Of course, I'll come back up if I could think of any other stories I've had in my life that are absolutely insane.
Alrighty.
Have a good one.
You too. Druid, I absolutely agree. For the record. Let's see here. All right. Try to get everybody in order of who's been waiting the longest. Hello and welcome.
Hey, Paranormal. Thanks for having me on.
My name's Sarah, by the way. You don't have to
Sarah, okay, hi. So, story I wanted to share. It's one of those when whatever happens in the next life or whatever happens after we die, if there is something out there, I'd love to ask them about this wherever we go. I really want to point back and say, what the hell was that happened? I was about 9, sitting Indian style on watching TV on a bright sunny day. You know, I grew up in South Texas, and it was around Christmas time. It still gets very hot, and I'm sitting in front of the TV just watching TV. I'm by myself. Everybody has gone to like a neighbor's house and stuff, and I'm sitting there watching TV, and there's a Christmas tree behind me in the corner of the room. And we grew up very poor. It was a artificial Christmas tree that you could see right through it. You know, we had tinsel back in the day. And as I'm watching TV, something is just making me turn around and look at the Christmas tree for some reason. I don't know what it is. And then I watch TV again, and something keeps, like, I don't know, calling my attention to where the Christmas tree's at. And I don't know why. I stood up and I started just kind of like walking towards it, like something was, there. I don't know. I started, and I could see right through it. Okay. It's a very cheap artificial tree. You could see the walls behind it. But for some reason, I was walking right up towards it. And as I got close, I'm the only one in the house. And I just hear this high pitched cackling laughter, just super loud, coming from behind the Christmas tree. And I left the house, the apartment that we were at, like in 2 steps, because I couldn't, get out of there fast enough. And I had no freaking clue what the hell that was. I don't know. That I just had to share that story.
That is so weird and just spooky, and oh my god.
And it was like broad daylight. It wasn't like it was a scary night. It was whatever. It was a bright, sunny day. Nothing weird was happening. And I don't know. I still don't know what the hell that was to this day.
Yeah. That's weird. I have no idea. I've never heard of anything like that before.
Yeah. That's what, like I said, whatever happens, if they can just replay that and give me some kind of explanation, that would be really cool.
Well, we do have a lot of folks in the comments who know about like elementals and stuff like that. So maybe they can chime in, because that's what it kind of sounds like, is some of the stories that I hear from that area of the paranormal, But yeah, I appreciate you coming up and telling that to us. That was spooky and unexpected.
All right. Thanks for letting me share. Thanks. Good night.
Yeah, thanks. Good night. You guys feel free to chime in the comments. Does that sound kind of like some of the stuff Ali tells us about, and Druid also?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That is so strange. I love like just weird off the wall stories like that, because it's just like, that's the kind of stuff that you wonder about for a lifetime. Like he said, he wants to know eventually what the answer to that was. All right, guys. Guest box is open. Wow, it's been a
Sarah,
busy night, huh?
lean your head over a little bit. The other way. All right, wait, right there. Wait, go back. Right there. in the screen, Sarah.
Where? I don't understand where you want me to lean.
Hold on. There we go.
Yippee-ki-yay! Oh boy.
That's Red Dead
From now
Redemption.
on, absolutely. From now on, when you guys send a hat, I have to say yippee-ki-yay. I won't say the rest. I'll just say the PG version.
You're
That'll
gonna be
be
like
my.
those AI people.
Yeah, I really want to. I wish I had if I could think of something a little faster on the spot, but I can't ever think of it. And also, I usually have a guest when people send stuff, so I'm always like, thank you, over in the corner. But were you discussing dreams? We don't normally talk about dreams. Some people have their dreams kind of are relevant in their paranormal stories sometimes, but yeah, we don't really do dream streams. Mother flipper. Let's see. I saw something really funny a minute ago. I was trying to keep from laughing. Where did that go in the comments? There's no telling. It's gone. Guest box is open, guys. We want to hear your spookiest spooky story. I need to think up some more spooky stories to tell in the meantime. What is that? Is that corn?
It's corn.
It's corn. Well, how does that little song go? I can't remember. It's been a long time since I heard it.
Yeah, that's how it goes. It's corn.
Yeah, but then he says
Yeah.
something else too after that.
A big lump with knobs.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
A big lump with knobs? That's weird. What was your name again? My name is Sarah. I'll tell you a story. Here's a story. It has nothing to do with the paranormal. I was named after either a Fleetwood Mac song or a Hall & Oates song. But my mom, my brother, and my sister all have these false memories, and they're like, nope, you were named after the Starship song. I don't know if you guys know any of these songs. They're from the 80s. And I was like, but I was a year old, so did I not have a name for a year because that Starship song didn't come out for a year after I was born? I think I was named after the Fleetwood Mac song. Yeah, because the timeline makes more sense. I do too. I love that song, but I also love the Starship song. Does anybody, Chris, Harry, you guys know what I'm talking about? There's 3 songs from the 80s with my name in it. And there was always this huge debate in my family of which song was it. Tina knows. Tina knows what I'm talking about.
Off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, I grew up through the '80s, but I don't recall.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Little random trivia about me, I suppose. There's a chance that I didn't have a name for the first year of my life. I'm joking, kind of, sort of, a little bit. Maybe not really, but yeah. You've heard all 3? Awesome. They're all good songs. All right, guys, before I ramble about something crazy, somebody come up here and tell us something spooky.
I got a short story if you guys want to hear it.
Go for it. I'm going to get some coffee while you're telling it.
All right. If y'all want to hear it. This is going back to that one guy was talking about how he took the cross from Penthurst, and it reminded me of this one time me and my friends went to this supposedly haunted location, and we found this little book that had a bunch of weird writing in it, and it had little pieces of bone inside of the book, taped to the pages. And so we took the book with us. Luckily, I didn't bring it home with me. One of my friends brought it to her house. But when we left the place with the book, we were kind of like laughing about it. And it sounded like something crashed on the roof of the car. And then we heard like a scream. And we all heard it. And we got kind of quiet. And we just kind of like laughed it off. But I think we were all kind of freaked out a little bit.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Tully says, my parents almost named me Dale Earnhardt. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and Druid pointed out, Chris, that would be a grimoire.
What the heck is that?
It's a spooky book.
Oh, okay. My cat's like annoying the crap out of me.
Hello and welcome.
Hey, it's me again. Sorry. Now, I was talking to Mario that was on here asking me about if anything else had happened, and I don't remember anything happening there at that place or anything missing. But I did want to mention my mom was a single mom with 7 kids, and she was notorious for getting housework and stuff done at all hours of the night. You know, she would be washing clothes mostly at night, doing laundry, and I'd be laying in my bed and I'd be facing the doorway, and I could see her walking by, you know, pretty often at that time of night. And I remember this one night, I was laying facing away from the door, and I felt the bed go down as if somebody sat down on the bed, and a hand on me, and I thought it was her. So I just like, you know, just kind of rolled over, and nobody was there. And that freaked me out. I covered myself with the blankets like if they were bulletproof or something, like if they were actually going to help me against something that was there. But I do remember that as well. And that house that we were at freaked me the hell out because I still have nightmares about the restroom in that house, just over and over and over and over. Just nightmares throughout my life. We haven't lived there in 30 years, but I still have nightmares about that restroom. You know, for some reason, me in front of the mirror, hearing things coming out of the sink. I always felt something there, and I had a friend of mine that was into brujeria. I never liked that kind of stuff, but he told me to go visit this lady, and this lady would, you know, if you put a clear glass of water by your window, she'd be able to somehow see the things that are going around. And I never believed it. I thought that was a bunch of crap. And but I did do it, you know, just, you know, to appease my friend. And he said that there was an older couple that was living there still. There was an old house. But I don't know, something about that house still creeps me out to this day. Even when I pass by, I just think about the nightmares that I still have about that restroom. You guys ever get anything like that?
Yeah, I think we hear some stories like that from time to time. And also, the thing you're talking about, like something sitting down on the bed. I had a ghost cat one time, and every single night I would feel it jump in the bed with me, and I would think that it was one of my real cats, like one of these. And and I'd be like, "Oh, come up here, baby, and lay down." And then I would like reach down, and there's no cat there, but I could clearly feel a cat jump into the bed and like walk across the foot of the bed. So that one's definitely relatable for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up very Pentecostal, and so it was very common to be eating breakfast, you know, and 10 minutes later we're in church and my mom is like letting go of my hand and start speaking in tongues and stuff like that. And, you know, there was this mindset of good versus evil happening around us at all times, you know, and so that kind of stuff really scared me. You know, when you're young at that age, it's like, what the heck? You know, like there's actual demons and stuff like that, and we're fighting them. And so growing up, I think, you know, having that mindset kind of made me feel like there are some things that are out there in, I don't know, another dimension, another realm, whatever. And I think that certain people have the ability to tune in like a radio when you're turning the knob trying to find a certain frequency. I think certain people can sort of tune into that. And I think once you do, whatever is out there can see that you're tuning into it and they're attracted to it. And
Yeah.
because they think you can hear it, they think that you're tuned into that frequency, and so they're drawn to it. I wish I didn't have that, because I'm kind of turning it on right now. But yeah, that kind of stuff I think opens you up to what might be there that otherwise you'd just be watching TV and not caring about it.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. That makes a lot of sense.
All right, thanks for having me back on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
My problem is I'll be watching TV and I keep catching things out of the corner of my eye down the hallway.
Don't you just hate when that happens? It's so annoying. It's like, damn it, ghost.
Hello?
Oh, I think they are not connecting. Raven, I'm gonna drop you. I don't think it's gonna connect. Feel free to hop back in the guest box if you still want to come up. I don't know if maybe you canceled it out right about the time I accepted it. Sometimes that happens. Um, let's see. Trying to catch up on the comments a little bit. All right, guys, tap the screen, get some people in here, get some spooky stories. I don't think we've had an alien story tonight. I want to hear an alien story.
Yeah.
We need more alien stories. It's so funny how they were so popular in the 80s and 90s. Like everybody seemed to have an alien story. And then nowadays people don't have them as much. Something interesting, some conclusion to be drawn from that, I suppose. But hell, somebody come up here, just make one up, tell it to me. I don't care. Make it good though. I'm just joking. Only real alien stories for you mischievous people out there. Unsolved mysteries. There's something about that show, Unsolved Mysteries, that just makes me depressed when I watch it nowadays. I don't know what it is. Maybe it just reminds me of my childhood. Hello and welcome.
Is it working?
It's working, yeah.
Hey, I just want to tell my mermaid story again. People were asking.
Okay.
Oh, and your cat. I understand what animals say. It's a weird thing, but you have a cat that's concerned about losing its hair, I think. Does it carry around hair?
It's funny that you say that because
I hear it's meow, and it's been saying, like, it's concerned. Is it going bald somewhere, or...
no, some of them fight, and sometimes they get in some pretty bad fights, and one of them snatches hair off the other one pretty bad.
Does the other one complain? And carry your hair? It's been meowing about something about losing its hair.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. Oh my gosh, this is freaking me out.
I'm sorry. I'm an animal whisperer. I never met an animal that hated me. Dogs love me. I have a pack of coyotes that I actually feed. Yeah. So I kept hearing your cat meow in the background, and it sounded like, I'm not saying I speak cat, but I felt like it was talking about losing its hair and pissed off about it or concerned about it.
Yeah, that's so weird because, okay, the cat that you guys usually hear yodel in the background is Scooter, and every night he goes and gets a toy and he runs around the house and he makes all these noises. But yeah, he has been shedding a lot more than normal. Um, but yeah, sometimes they rip hair off of each other, and he's one of the two that gets into the hair ripping contest. So that's really weird that you know that.
It's weird. It's weird. So I live in Wolf Creek, Arizona. Um, we believe our town believes there's a pack of werewolves around here. I've told you the story about them. Um, I'm honestly thinking I'm thinking there's skinwalkers probably with these coyotes. But anyways, my grandma lives in West Key, Florida. Um, she lives in an old little shack house out there. She's lived there my whole life. My mom's was born and raised out there, but there's a group of ladies. There are three sisters that don't look related. One's African American, one's Asian descent, and one's a really pale white woman. But they're known as the Triton sisters, and people have seen them in different phases. Usually, it's said on the full moons, they come out of their water, go sing karaoke at this bar where men get sick to their singing. Like my grandpa has admitted that he's been to that bar before and got really sick at the singing. But once they're done singing, people claim to see them more prettier looking going back into the water and don't see them for another month on the full moon. I've actually seen them once. I was playing on a full moon in the shallow waters, collecting crabs for my grandma because she rescues hermit crabs and reshells them. And yeah, the way when I first saw them, they were they didn't look old, but they looked weathered, and I thought they were weird people playing with mermaid tails. But as I noticed, these ladies were trying to take off the tails were just disappearing like into the water and became legs, and that's all I got on them.
All right, guys, there you go. There's the mermaid story, the infamous mermaid story.
The
I love
Triton
that, by the way.
sisters. I think they're actually sirens, if I'm thinking, because they sing and people get sick with their singing. And once they're done singing, I think they feed off energy, maybe, and they become more beautiful, then go back to the water.
I wish I could do that.
Just sing and become beautiful off people
Yeah.
listening.
And go like jump in a pond or something. I could be like the drunken lady of the lake. I don't know. Something cool.
I'm planning to go back out next month, and I'm wanting to try to see if I could videotape around the bar and maybe even get them singing, because
That would be cool.
I know they come every full moon, and which is believed. But figure out what your cat wants. Your cat's been like, I've been trying to tell you all night. It's been drawing on me. That cat's meowing about something it's not okay with.
Yeah, I'm still back there at that part of the conversation. Like, how do you know that? That is so crazy. Oh my God. Wow. I'll go talk to my cat after the stream and figure it out, though. We'll sit down and have a
Is it
Danny
eating the
Tanner
hair?
heart to heart.
Is it eating the hair? Is it eating
I
the
don't,
hair?
I hope not, but I mean, they probably do consume a great deal of hair just because they're ripping it out of each other sometimes.
It's not beans. It's another cat I'm hearing, and it's not okay with its hair getting ripped out. It's telling the whole entire world this is not okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to do something with these animals. They're out of control.
All right. Well, thanks for having me back, Sarah. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, thank you for coming up. Yeah, me and Scooter, we're gonna sit down like Danny Tanner and DJ. We're gonna sit on the edge of the bed and we're gonna be like, we're gonna have a heart to heart conversation about this hair stuff because that is so trippy. Um, Well, my brain's scrambled for the rest of the night, guys. Chris, Harry, you guys are gonna have to take over. Be sitting here thinking about that.
We have a guest.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh, we do. Okay, I didn't even see the thing light up. TikTok is at it again.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome.
Harmony.
Thank you for having me. So I've spoken about this before on other lives, but I'll share it here. So I lived in Gilbert, Arizona. It was late night. It was probably around 2 o'clock in the morning. My boyfriend and I were ready to go to bed. Turned the TV off. He went to the end of the house. I stayed in the living room to, put a few things away. But anyway, before it happens, and this is the first one that I've had an encounter with, but before it happens on this night, I could like feel this energy, like this vibe. It's harder to describe. And then I could hear this distant voice, like it's always a male, and it's very subtle, and it's almost like it's in a tunnel. I could hear it very clearly, like guiding me and telling me to come outside, like calling me. I could feel it calling me. So I come out onto the back porch area, and I'm standing there and I'm looking up at the sky, and it's just beautiful. There's this like real thin cloud up there, and I feel it. I can feel something staring at me. I can feel it, and so I'm just like, okay, like waiting. And so this light just radiated from behind the cloud. I'm like, whoa, what the heck is that? You know, I'm like, that's a pretty big light. And just boom, there it is. And it comes out and it's radiating. It's glow, and it's almost like an orb. It's like in a like the shape of a sphere, and it had this um, orangey white light coming through it. And I'm like, wow, like it had me shook. Like I'm just standing there, just like staring at this thing. And then it dimmed out and it disappeared. And then I'm like, okay, where'd you go? And then it comes back out again. And so I'm like, oh, wow, this is interesting. And then the way that it moved from behind that cloud, just out of nowhere, just like it freaking like bam, like I mean, when they talk about interstellar speed, and you hear like people talk about that type of speed, like I've seen that because that's true. Like because the amount of speed that it traveled and then stopped and then sat there, and just again like looking at me, I could feel it staring at me, and so at this point my body is froze. I'm just like, what, what was that? And so it's sitting there, and again, it feels like I'm not able to talk. I'm not able to move because I'm just so shook at what I'm experiencing. And so, as I finally was able to get the words out of my mouth, which were my boyfriend's name, which was Richard, as I proceeded to scream his name, that object up there moved again in that speed, but it was like a quick zip, and then it just poof, like went into like. So you see the sky at night, it's just black up there, but it's like it shifted and like went into something that we cannot see with our naked eye, but it zip just like into this like up in the sky, just gone. And the amount of speed that it went, it left like this orange ray of light from where it sat at that last moment to the way it zipped and went into like a nothing and just boop, disappeared like that right in front of my freaking eyeballs. My heart is pumping right now just talking about it. Oh, um, but I was so frozen by this. It was amazing. So, that to me, I mean, a few people that I've talked to about it, they say, I don't know if that was alien. That's more like what they call like a light beam, because I don't know. I just know that this happened, and I've had other ones as well, and I've had my my last that one was like over 10 years ago, but my most recent one was in South Carolina. Went down to see my son, and a friend of mine was with me. His name was Ryan. I was on his porch. It was also late night, and he's facing me and he's drinking a beer. And I look above his head and I see these white orbs. And the way that they were moving was like, I mean, it's hard to describe like how they're like very precise, and they like, it's like they're just like intertwining. It was like they're all up there just like playing around. And I said, Ryan, shh, for a minute, turn around, look. And when he turned around, he looked up. I was like, look at him. You see him moving all around? He's like, oh my God. And he'd never seen it before, and I had told him before, but he didn't really want to believe me. But when he saw it for himself, like I'm telling you, when he turned back around and looked at me, his eyes were about to pop out of his head. He was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "I told you." And then right after that one, I went back to, I was staying with him for a little bit. And I went back to my little house that I was renting on the river. I had this tiny little little tiny house I was staying out on the river, of like right there, Georgia, the border of Augusta, Georgia, and South Carolina area is where I lived at. But where this one happened with him was in Georgia, on the other side of the river. So anyway, so my car had messed up, and I had this lady that was helping me get back and forth from my job, Jason's Deli, off of Washington Road in Augusta, Georgia. And so on this one, um, she got, I think she got me around 10:30 at night. No, it was 11 because we closed at 10:30. Okay, so she got me around 11. So we got to where this particular story happened. We get to I lived to my driveway, which is a long. I mean, I lived out just in the country. You know what I'm saying? So like when you go up this driveway, it's pretty good distance to get finally to little house on the river. You know, and I rented it from these people that own like this big farm. But anyway, so we're out there and it's like really dark, and we're going down the gravel road, and again I could like feel something. I could feel it before I knew it was calling. And this one was not a small orb. This one was, from what they call it, I guess, a mothership. I don't know. But it was like transparent, and it was shaped like, almost like, almost like a diamond shape. Like, it was like a point in the front, and it came out on both sides, and it was like a point, and then back down to the back. Same. It was like the same shape on both sides. And it was like, when I say transparent, but it also looked like dark, like it blended in with the black sky, but we could still see the shape. And so I saw it before the lady driving saw it. And again, she never had an experience before. And this lady was freaking out. I was like, it's okay. Like, don't freak out. And, cause she was like, what is that? I was like, it's them, they're here again, like she didn't know how to take it. And I was like, it's like it didn't scare me at this point because I've got so freaking many stories of like how many times I haven't had these type of encounters, and so I question myself, like, what is it about me as to why I have these stories, or why these things come at me, like why it's like they're following me around. I've seen them in Texas before. A few years ago, I was staying with I had this boyfriend named Brian. We were living in an RV. Again, that calling, that feeling, and it's like walk out and boom, there it is. And then just the amount of speed that it moves, I'm just like, so you know there's my UFO stories. I mean, I've got more. I don't want to throw everything out there in one thing. I got so many I could share at another time. But I also have supernatural stories of like just entities itself. I just have that openness to have that as well. So, but anyway, that's some of my stories.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and this
Yeah.
is the first live that I felt really comfortable to really tell some of that.
Hmm.
So,
Well,
so
that's
thank
cool.
you.
I'm glad that you did. Thank you for coming up.
You're welcome. Thank you. You have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
You know what that makes me think of is the Cash Landrum case. If anybody's familiar with that UFO case, that was actually a diamond shape, sort of diamond shape UFO, and that was in Texas as well.
Never heard of that one.
You should look
I
it up.
have.
That's one of my favorite UFO. Oh, Harry's heard of it? Yeah,
Yes.
that's one of my favorite cases, actually. Um, Dayton, Texas, I believe was where. Yeah, I think it was Dayton, Texas. I don't know where that is in Texas. Texas is too damn big. I don't know where anything is
Yeah.
there.
It's a huge state.
It is, yeah. It's so big, honestly, that I can't even remember where people, like, I don't know, like Rebecca, who used to host Paranormally Correct on YouTube with me. I always would ask her, I'd be like, wait, where did you say you're from in Texas? And she'd get so frustrated at me. She'd be like, I told you a million times. Like, I know, but I can't remember because there's so many places in Texas.
Yeah.
It's easy being here in Kentucky because we just have Lexington and Louisville and Eastern and Western, and that's it. um, oh, We got another person, and this might be our last one for the night. We'll see.
Hello.
Hello and welcome.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I'm just stressed out.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Did you have a paranormal story you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, I do. So years ago, this is while I was in college, dumb college student wanting to have some fun. I didn't want to participate in it, but I did. Anyway, I had a couple of friends and us were playing with a Ouija board, and I'll never forget this experience because it was so supernatural. I think my brain couldn't grasp what happened. But when we first played the Ouija board, we weren't talking to a demon. We were talking to an angel. Her name was Eve, and I'll never forget this. And what she told the group of my friends, I wasn't part of the Ouija board at the time. I was watching them speak to this lady, this entity. And apparently she died, I guess, in the woods. I guess she was somehow murdered. But she was saying that she was an angel. So I don't know if that's true. But I'll never forget when they asked her where she was. She said she was in a place and she said it was cold. She said heaven was cold. And then she mentioned she had 2 children and that they lived in San Jose, et cetera, et cetera. And then as we started talking to her, she said, I have to go because it got darker. And then I remember when I started to come in, I remember seeing a bunch of shadows passing by me. And that's when I realized, okay, there has to be supernatural things because I'm seeing a bunch of shadows passing by. I don't think my friends could see it, but I could because I was born Christian. So I don't know if that has something to do with why I could see them, but they couldn't. They were like, what the hell is going on? So we also had a professional who knows how to play Ouija board, so he knew exactly what to do. Because once the Ouija board starts playing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that means you need to stop playing before you get to Z, and then you kind of summon something very the ZOZO, and you don't want that one to mess with you. So that was kind of my experience. But ever since that experience, it actually woke me up to realize that there are supernatural things out there that we can't explain. I mean, I wish I could understand, but my human brain just doesn't comprehend a lot of things. But that's kind of the experience I wanted to share. I don't know if that helps. I I still kind of get shaken up that I experienced that, but um as a Christian, right now I'm kind of agonistic. I'm just really confused by religion. I think the Bible's been changed, and I feel like there's too many different translations. And every time I read different ones, I feel like they're kind of saying different things. So I don't really know what to believe anymore.
I'll tell you
Um,
what, you should, here on TikTok, look up Deconstruction Zone. And his name is Justin, and he is a biblical scholar, but he's an atheist, and he will blow your mind. But look up Deconstruction Zone, Justin, and watch some of his videos. He's excellent, and I think that, um, you know, that might be something of interest to you. But we appreciate you sharing your story, and I hope things get better. Whatever's got you stressed out, I hope you feel better soon.
yeah, hopefully. You said Jacob?
His name's Justin.
Justin.
Hmm. Yeah, but you should be able to find it just by Deconstruction Zone.
Okay, yeah, because I really need to know what the hell's going on. I need to know the truth so I can really delve into this because I don't know where to start.
Yeah, check him out, and I think you'll find it very interesting. But
Okay.
we appreciate you coming up, and like I said, hope things get better. Hope you feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, have a good night.
You too.
All right, we got 2 minutes, guys. We got time for one more.
Hello.
Hello and welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I was on my other account, which is doesn't have that many followers, and I ran across you guys, and I'm like, I'm listening for a while. So, I have always had a lot of different weird things has happened my whole life. A couple years ago, I got on TikTok. I decided to start getting involved more in watching the paranormal stuff because it's always interested me. And so a couple years ago, I started doing paranormal investigations. So I've been doing that for a couple years. And so I probably have a lot of different stories. But I'll share my first experience. I grew up in a house that we all seem to have different strange things happening. So my first experience I had with paranormal was I was probably around 10 or 11 years old, sitting in the bed playing with my dolls. And this was a small house that had 2 bedrooms with just a door separating the 2 bedrooms. And I just happened to look up and I saw like a little girl and a little boy sitting on the bunk bed, like on the edge of a bunk bed with their feet off the side, just sitting there smiling at me, just staring at me and watching me and smiling. They were kind of transparent. They were what I described at the time, like Little House on the Prairie clothes. Like they had like the little denim overalls and the little flowered dress with the apron, and the girl had blonde hair with braids. The boy had blonde hair. They both were probably about the same age as I was. And they were just smiling. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I like literally couldn't say anything. I looked up and looked back down, and they had like they had the black lace up boots, and then I just jumped off the bed and I hollered for my mom, jumped off the bed and screamed and hollered for my mom and shut the door, like slammed the door in their face, basically. And of course, my mom had come upstairs and was like, what the heck's going on? She thought I fell or something. And so, of course, she couldn't find anything wrong. But I mean, that house did have a lot of different experiences that other people experienced. Something with men in that house. There was a woman that would hover over them with long hair and kind of smother them where they couldn't breathe. So I don't really know. I mean, the house is now tore down. My aunt lived there for a while later, and it got tore down because it needed a lot of work, and it pretty much just creeped everybody out. Let's see, but there was a lot of things like that happen, and then just different things throughout my life has happened. I always felt like I could sense whenever there was spirits in an area, or I could just sense an energy shift when I'd go in places. I could sense if there was something in there. I've had premonitions of different dreams, and doing investigating. It's definitely heightened, and definitely watching and learning more about other people's experiences in the paranormal community. It's explained a lot of stuff to me. I'm actually a mod for a medium, and sometimes I'll hear things as she's talking to spirits, and I hear more than I see. But I did see, that is my only time I actually did see spirits. I have caught some stuff, doing the investigating, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. I did have a situation at the house I live in now. I mean, I do hear stuff all the time, even in the house, but I just feel like my thoughts on it is that we have spirits all around us. We have entities, we have things, they just don't always let themselves be known. So they can pass through if they know that you're willing to talk to them, or they know that they can communicate with you in any way, they're going to do their best to get your attention. So, I'll hear things sometimes, and sometimes I'll be like, well, maybe I'll be nosy enough to be like, hey, who are you? But for the longest time, I would not, try to communicate. I would not. I was too scared until probably a couple years ago. Because, like I said, I've lived in different places throughout my life. The house I lived in before, I don't know, there was constantly something trying to get my attention. Knocks under the door, water turning on and off, lights going on and off, or knocks under the table, rather. The door got shut in my face one time. So I don't think they really liked me in this house. We lived there 3 years, and it immediately started as soon as the first day we moved in. The house I live in now, I just think sometimes things come, or sometimes something will follow me, from a location, and usually they don't stick around. I don't think my house is haunted. I think that spirits come and go, and if I give them attention, they'll stick around a little bit if they want to try to talk to me. I use different devices to communicate, but I try not to do that so much in my house because I try to keep my house more peaceful. I'm not trying to bring things in intentionally. I did have a strange experience several months after we moved in. I still don't really know what this was. I kind of think it was a premonition. I was waiting for my husband to bring food home, and he had called to say, where he was going because the place he was going to go wasn't open. And I'm sitting on the bed waiting for him to come in because I wasn't feeling good. And he comes in the bedroom. He lays my car keys down on the side bedroom, the table next to the bed. And he says, here's your keys, and turns around and walks out. And I'm thinking, he did it so fast, so casually and so fast that I was like, what the heck did he have my car key for? Why wasn't he driving his truck? And even if he did drive my car, he has his own set of keys. Why is he bringing them in? So next thing I know, he comes back in the room, has the food, and starts giving me food and whatever. And then I didn't think to say anything. Well, a day or two goes by, and I'm like, so why did you have my key? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, why'd you have my key? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, you brought my car key in whenever you came in the other night, and you just said, here's your key. And he's like, no, I didn't. So I'm like, I had to literally go look at the table because I thought it was still probably there because it was getting closer to winter, and I didn't really drive that car that much because it's rear wheel drive. And so then I looked at my purse. I'm like, oh, my keys where I always keep it. And he's like, I did not do that. And then I realized, I'm like, I have a camera that I could actually see because I was so convinced that he did, and he was just messing with me, that I'm like, I had to catch you or catch something coming into my room that looked like you. And this was like I said, maybe end of November or so. And I'm like, that was just so weird. I'm like, there's something to that. So it was over a year later that my key fob was missing. I noticed it missing in the spring because, like I said, I really didn't drive that car that much in the winter. And I noticed it missing, and I'm like, there it is. And I knew, I said, this has to be some type of a premonition. I'm going to lose my key, and you're going to bring it to me. And he's like, okay, whatever, Sure enough, my key fob was missing for several months. And I kept saying, will you hurry up and just go find my key fob? We would search all over the whole house and look for my key fob, and we couldn't find it. And it would just be a random thing. And I'm like, it was stupid. And sure enough, he did end up one day coming in to the room. It didn't happen like I saw him, but it did happen where he come in. He goes, guess what I found? And I'm like, you found my key fob? He's like, I did. I didn't even, he said, I just happened to be in the closet, and there it was, laying out there. And I had pulled everything out of the closets because I thought, well, maybe it's in an old purse. Maybe it fell under some shoes. I had pulled everything out of the closet prior to that. And he had too at different times. So just kind of strange. That's kind of a strange thing. I don't know. Like all I can figure it was some type of a premonition that happened. And normally, little premonitions has happened when I'm sleeping. I've had premonitions of my father-in-law passing away and seeing his name on the tombstone, and a couple hours later, he passed away. Most of the premonitions have not been very, that important. I don't really understand why I saw that. I don't know why I would. But yeah, there's just a lot of strange things. It's weird. You just don't understand why things happen, why you have these situations.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting, like the story that you're telling with the key fob. I've met a few people who've had similar experiences, seeing like entities do something like that, or like a premonition. And I had a similar experience once, and it was the most ominous thing. But I think it's interesting that you interpreted it in kind of a positive way, like a premonition, because I'd never thought of it from that perspective. So that's really interesting.
Immediately, I had people saying doppelganger, doppelganger. And if anybody doesn't know what a doppelganger is, that's supposed to be like a demonic entity. And I didn't feel like that's what it was. Like, like I said, I can go into a room or a location and I can sense if there's something. I can sense if there's something in there, an energy, but I can also sense if it's dark or if it's not dark. And so I was like, well, it did, nothing about it made me scared. It was just very weird. So, but I had never had it happen like while I was awake. And I knew I was awake because he kept calling me like, well, what do you want? Da da da. It was like the phone, I wasn't asleep. There was not enough time for me to fall asleep. So, and we did have other things disappear around here. I had a cake pan disappear. I was like, when you can't find something, I'm getting ready to pour the cake and the cake batter in a cake pan, and you can't find that. And I'm like searching all over. I mean, I literally went to the basement and looked through boxes, and because I don't make cakes that often. And I thought that I have a cake pan, and I couldn't find it. Months later, I reached under the cabinet to buy or to make another cake out of a different pan. Months later, there's that cake pan I had searched all over for. He was looking for air, what do you call it? To blow up an air mattress, like the
little pump thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like weird things. They're not even necessarily small things. That's what's really weird. And because stuff that you don't normally see all the time. And he couldn't find it. Well, I didn't think anything about that. It was again, months later, it was out in the middle in the basement, just sitting there. And there's no one else that lives with us. We asked my son, who occasionally is here, like, for some reason, did you use that? Because he also had I can't say the word, but what a man carries around, that pokey, like he also had one of these that like was just like, one he had in his drawer that he never used. And it was laying there too. He didn't even notice that missing, but it was laying there next to the air pump. So it was just like the weirdest stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's like, well, actually, we didn't notice anything missing at the house that we lived in before. I see he's saying, or she's saying, I wonder if it's some kind of gremlin, brownies, house spirits. When we were at the other house, and that other house I do consider haunted because there was stuff happening, like I said, right from the get-go. I actually, I got so obsessed with literally moving. Oh, okay. Sorry, I wasn't sure. I got so obsessed with moving cameras around the house that I literally was just moving my cameras around the house and watching stuff and watching orbs and seeing all these things happening at that house. That my daughter, she was like, at that time she was, she lived at home then and she was a teen, and she was like, "Don't be putting a camera in my room." Well, well, she was at work and I'm like, I'm putting the camera in her room. So I put a camera in her room just to monitor to see if saw anything happening. And everybody talks about, whether orbs is just dust and blah, blah, blah. And I do think that a lot of it is dust. But that girl's room was dirty. And I was like, I'm like, if there's going to be any orbs in any room, it's going to be in there if it's dust. And I didn't see anything floating around. And finally, I was getting tired. And I said, you know what? I said, we need to go take that camera out of there because she's going to come home and she's going to freak out. So we have a camera in her room. And so we took it out, or I went in there to take it out. My husband was like, I asked him to take it out. And he was like, you go take it out. I'm busy, So I went in there to take it out, and the bedroom door was open. And I'm like, "Do you go in there?" And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, the bedroom door was open." So I went in there, got the camera, and there was a probably 40-second delay, I think, when you're watching the live footage or something like that. So when I turned that off, from the time I turned it off, got up, kind of went in there, I didn't see that door open on camera as I was watching it live. But when I went back and rewound it, at that same time I was telling him, I was like, there's nothing going on in there. There's not even an orb that's went by in there. I said, we need to take the camera out. At that same time, you see the door opening. And so we literally just was watching that over and over and over. And I probably watched it 10 times before I noticed there was like something that pushed the door open at the very bottom of the door. It almost looked like what my husband called a cat paw. It almost looked like this little hand, and it was like so fast. I've still not even put that on camera. I've never even made a video of that because I don't know. I just never have. And the thing is when you catch stuff on video, it's your word against theirs most of the time. Somebody can say, "Oh, that was, dog." Even my kids were like, "Oh, that was our dog." And I'm like, "No, that wasn't our dog," because the way the door opened, the way, like I had all these reasons to know that it couldn't have been the dog. The door opened a certain way. There's no way the dog could have moved back that fast. The dog wasn't even in there, So it's kind of like, it's really hard to show any kind of proof because it's always pretty much going to be your word against everyone else when it comes to anything that is caught. And there's so much out there that's fake. It's annoying that there's so many fake people out there faking stuff. So when I do investigations, I put things on there and I take it like, well, if you want to believe what I caught, if you don't, that's fine too. That's kind of how I am, and I don't try to talk anyone into believing me, or, everybody can take it like they want. But anyways, it is really annoying. But anyways, the point of that is I've had people say, well, maybe it was like some type of a gremlin or goblin or brownie. And I'm like, I never even believed in any of that kind of stuff. I was just kind of like, I've had spiritual encounters, but I never thought any of that was true. But now all of this just really makes me second guess everything. You just are like, oh my God, I don't even know what to believe anymore.
Yeah, I know what you mean for sure.
But anyways,
we really appreciate you,
Yeah.
and thank you for coming up and telling us about
Yeah,
all
I could
that.
probably think of more stuff, but I'll let you guys go. And if anybody else is in here, thanks for letting me share.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna follow you here on this account.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Well, it is that time, folks. It is that time for me, Ma, to go to bed. Real quick before we go, we are here Sunday and Monday night every week at about the same time. I keep saying I'm going to go earlier, but I think now I'm cemented in at 11 p.m. Eastern, so that's where we're at, Sunday and Monday. I'm going to put that on the banner so that everybody knows, because a lot of people asked tonight. Real quick, Tully, if you are in the comments, let everybody know where to find you. And everybody go over and support Tully. Tully is like the best mod ever. Thank you so much, Tully, for hanging out with us tonight and every night, and like all the hard work you do in the comments. I really appreciate it. Tully runs Folking Weird. Hopefully he's still here and he can like type that out for you guys so you can, or like maybe he can tag it. Also, don't forget Chris and Harry for hanging out. Super awesome. Chris had lots of alien abduction problems tonight, but he's still here with us, and I really appreciate that. And Harry, I hope you had fun hanging out with us. And yeah, and very awesome. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody that came up tonight to talk with us. Go watch my sheep squatch video. It's a weird one. It's a weird story. And I think Tully might be gone already, but if you go to Folking, like the word folk, but with the ing, Folking Weird, you should be able to find it, and give Tully a follow. Really appreciate him here. But we'll be back next Sunday night for more ghost stories. And yeah, so I hope you all had a good time, and we will see you next week.
Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.